And welcome everybody to another episode of the Pulse of Fins Nation. I am your host, Louis Sung, and Ron Kenneth will be joining us shortly. He's having a few technical difficulties, but he will be coming along shortly. I do have Manny in the background doing his producer thing. We're always glad to have him around. And so, without further ado, before we get too far into it, let me just go ahead and bring up once again. Oh, hello. We are the Flame now. All right. But once again, just want to bring up this show is brought to you by prizepicks.com. That is the revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6, not 5. You can pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues. Leagues are still the same. You can do the NFL, you can do the NBA, you can do the MLB. They have the World Cup going on right now. They have NASCAR going on. They literally almost every single sport that you can think of. They have picks for you to choose from. Just choose the over or the under on those individual players' fantasy projections, individual stats, fantasy point projections. Are they going to win? Are they going to lose? You can choose that right on there. And they will even give you freebie picks to take advantage of. For instance, this Thanksgiving, they're going to give you Justin Jefferson. All he has to do is catch for 1 yard. And you are going to win. That's a freebie if you ever heard one. And not only that, they'll also give you special different days where you can get some extra discounts. So Taco Tuesday, I actually have the over on Kevin Durant on a Taco Tuesday discount. All he has to do is score 25 points and I win on that one. And they also have Flex Friday specials where they'll basically give you your $20 back if you don't end up winning. And that's how I won my $500 the other day. So with offers like that, hard to justify not signing up to Prize Picks. Use the promo code 5, that is FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up using that promo code. You don't have to bet it all the way through. You just sign up, put in your money, and they give you the extra money to play with. It's a free $100. What are you waiting for? Go to prizepicks.com and use the promo code 5, FIVE, and they will match your money. All right. So, let's get into all the things that we've got going on. Obviously, the bye week has come and gone. Now the Miami Dolphins are going to be facing off against the Houston Texans. And now we are hearing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that it will not be Davis Mills at quarterback for the Houston Texans. It's actually going to be Kyle Allen. So that's going to be an interesting matchup, I think. I think that the Miami Dolphins now have a very unique opportunity here to really pull away from the rest of the AFC. And some of the comments that have been coming in recently, it really gives you the impression that everybody's feeling the hype that the Miami Dolphins are causing right now. It's really making you feel like that this team could legitimately not only be a playoff team, they could actually make a run in the playoffs. Because if you really think about it, who are the teams in the AFC that you are truly afraid of? You have the Kansas City Chiefs. You have maybe the Buffalo Bills. But after that, is there any team in the AFC that you really believe that the Miami Dolphins cannot come out on top? Do you really look at this schedule that's coming up right now and you can just definitively say, oh, that is definitely a loss for the Miami Dolphins? And now I'm going to go ahead and welcome Ron Caniff to the show. How are you, sir? We got all of our technical difficulties taken care of?
Yep. I guess if you can hear me and see me, then I did.
I can hear you and I can see you still rocking them shades. So yeah, I can definitely tell.
Always.
Yeah. So I was just talking about the Dolphins schedule coming up. And I was just actually mentioning that, is there really any team left on this list that you're looking at and thinking, oh, there's no way the Dolphins are going to beat these guys? You have the Texans, obviously, this upcoming week at Hard Rock. Yeah, not only am I not scared of the Texans, I am fully expecting a blowout of the Houston Texans.
That's a blowout. The first half
with Kyle Allen as their quarterback instead of Davis Mills, because they're benching Davis Mills because he's not good enough. And then you have the only one that you can really kind of be like, well, maybe we might lose that one, is like the 49ers game in San Francisco, which, yeah, that's going to be a really tough one. And then you have the Chargers game where it's like, okay, yeah, it's going to be the Justin Herbert matchup. Can the Dolphins win against his high-powered throwing arm? And we all saw what he did with Patrick Mahomes. It's like people making jokes. Oh, it's like clockwork. Justin Herbert throws an interception right at the end of the game there. And then
before you move on, I just for those people who are thinking the Chargers matchup is going to be something and they're going to really compete with us, you got to ignore what happens with the Chiefs. Those are divisional games for them. We see Philly has one loss. Who lost? Who'd they lose to? A divisional
the Washington
team.
Commanders.
Yeah, exactly. It's just different. It's only to make an example. But here we go. Let's go over the Chargers wins, shall we? Week 1. Well, I won't go through the weeks. So they beat the Raiders 24-19, 5 points. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Jags. They beat the Texans by 10. Nothing super impressive, of course. They beat the Browns by 2. They beat the Broncos by 3 in overtime. They beat the Falcons by 3. Like, literally all these teams have 3 wins. Like, this is the only – they have 5 wins, and every single one of their wins are close games against crappy teams. The Chargers are lucky they're 5-5. Honestly, they're playing more like a 3-win team right now. Like, it's if anybody's thinking this game's we're going to go in, this game's going to be competitive, it's not. It's not going to be competitive.
I mean, that's why I titled this episode the way that it is. It's like, I really feel like at this point, like you made your declaration last week when our good friend Chad made an appearance, is that you feel like the Dolphins could win the Super Bowl.
Yes, absolutely.
Has your feelings changed? Have you gotten down from your high a little bit, or are you still like butterfly
not
in
at
the
all.
sky?
Not at all. Not at all. No, I have not. Hadn't changed my mind at all.
And so nothing. What has anything gone through your mind, being like, well, maybe it was a little hasty? Like, what? Why do you feel so strongly about it?
I said they'd win out. Obviously, the team that they have to face that's going to be the tough one, the real tough one to do that, is the Niners. Let's be honest; they're playing some really good football right now. We might be catching them at their best, but no, I haven't changed my mind.
It was the Arizona Cardinals last night.
Granted, it was the Cardinals. The Cardinals suck. Yeah, no doubt.
I promise I wasn't going to be on tonight, but you're making it quite difficult.
Oh, am I? Well, we want you on, Manny. We don't mind.
Arizona Cardinals had Colt McCoy at quarterback. I'm not impressed.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But yeah, I mean, Niners are a talented team, though. I mean, we can't deny that. But they're built like we play like them. They're kind of built like us, but they're probably more talented overall. Like if you include, including defense too. So that's going to be a tough game, but I still think that we can absolutely win. I think that's the game where McDaniel starts to pull out the stuff that we haven't seen yet. If I'm telling you right now, I hope I'm sure Kyle Shanahan's not watching Pulse of Fins Nation. So I'm probably safe in saying I'll bet you anything that's the game where we see Tyreek Hill running out of the backfield. That'll be the game. That's the game where he's going to pull out.
That's the Deebo Samuel game
that we haven't yet. That's the game where we're going to see McDaniel. I've been talking about it all year, like waiting for McDaniel to kind of pull out that second half of the season kind of stuff, the stuff that he hasn't done yet, the stuff he's been drawing up in his head but hasn't pulled out yet. You're going to see some of that in that Niners game. That's when you're going to see it. You're going to see the Dolphins doing all kinds of stuff like that on offense.
All right. I mean, hey, listen, man. I hope that that's the case. I hope that there's still an extra gear that has not even been shifted yet.
I think there is. I've been saying there is, and I feel like that there still is an extra gear. I think good teams in general have that second, third gear that they can kick in the second half of the season and in the playoffs. The good teams have that. The bad teams are just trying to execute the basic stuff as best they can. The mid teams they're doing the same thing as the bad teams. They're trying to execute the basic stuff as best they can. They just do that better than the bad teams. But the good teams, which there's probably, 6, 7, 8 good teams in the league, maybe. They have that second and third gear as the season goes on, as we get into the playoffs. Miami's absolutely one of those for sure. San Fran's one of those too, though. And I think we're starting to see it. I know it was Cardinals, but I think we're starting to see that.
I mean, we'll see about that, man. But I know that there was a comment that was left in the last video that we did. And by the way, for everybody who's wondering, if you want, you can always leave a super chat in the chat box. It also helps us out, and you'll automatically be the star of the show. And you can also make sure that you leave a comment in the box below, and that way your comment will definitely be highlighted for the next show. It also helps us out.
How can they be the star of the show when Lewis is the star of the show?
I'm not the star of the show. This show is about the fans. This is from Kiana. I wish I had Ron's confidence. I'm still queasy about the rest of the season, let alone getting the first seed in the AFC, which seems to be what you're suggesting here, man. If you're going to make a Super Bowl run, you're going to be the first seed in the AFC ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs, which is pretty darn impressive.
We can't control what the Chiefs do. The Chiefs could win out. So we don't know. We could win out and the Chiefs win out, and they're still the first seed. They've only lost 2 games. I don't know how they lost to the Colts. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But besides that, I mean, who was the other team that they lost to?
Who, the Kansas City Chiefs? Hang on,
Yeah.
let me look that up now.
Ron, you lost to the Jets offense. Stop.
I know. You're right.
We lost to the no. Hold
we
on.
Also did it with our third string quarterback.
We
not
lost to
Tua.
Skylar Thompson.
Not Tua.
Even as an unprepared throwing play cards out of his wristband. Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, because Teddy didn't wobble. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm not.
Alf is the star of the show. Alf is the star of all shows.
Alf is welcome to come in if he wants to.
I think he might later. He might.
All right,
if he
sounds good.
If he has time.
Okay,
he's probably eating right now.
I wish I would. Yeah, I'm hungry too, man.
I was cramming food right before.
So
I got
Chiefs
on here.
lost to the Colts. They beat the Bucks by 10. They beat the Raiders by 1. They lost to Buffalo. Of course they lost.
Oh yeah, that's
Of
right.
course it was Buffalo.
Back when Buffalo was playing good. If you catch, you don't want to catch Buffalo. You never want to catch Buffalo at the beginning of the season. Buffalo always seems to start really hot. Then the middle of the season comes and we see what we've seen. I'm actually, I'm not a Bills fan or anything, obviously, but I'm actually kind of impressed. They went through a lot of crap just to get to Detroit. They didn't really have hardly any practices except at the beginning of the week.
Hoo.
Everything was Zoom. They probably did their walkthrough Sunday morning in Detroit or late Saturday night.
Listen, so I have no sympathy left for Buffalo fans. I have zero sympathy left for Buffalo fans and Buffalo team.
Anyone has sympathy for our fans right now?
We whined and they complained and they griped about it's too hot out and now it's too much snow. Oh Jesus, get over yourselves. It's like you can't handle when it's too hot. It's like it has to be Goldilocks. Buffalo's all Goldilocks. It has to be just right in order for them to be truly in a place where they can be. It's a fair fight.
I'm looking for them to maybe take that L against Detroit on Thanksgiving. Detroit's got a good offense. It could happen. Detroit's won 3 in a row, haven't they? 2 or 3 in a row?
I don't know. I know that one of the comments in here is bringing up how Detroit are actually ahead of the 49ers in total offense right now.
Most teams are behind Detroit in total offense. I mean, besides a game or two, Detroit's had a really, really good offense. I mean, they went on a shootout earlier in the year when nobody really realized. I think it might have even been week 1 or 2. Against Philly, if I recall.
I
want to know who the offensive coordinator is for that team because there's no way
that There you go again, Rob.
What?
There you go again. Nothing.
Because I bring up Philly because I like that team. Like I expect them to be playing for the Super Bowl, be in the Super Bowl or in the NFC Championship game. They're a really, really good team. You know I like Philly and I love Hurts. Come on, we've had this conversation before. Acting like I'm trying to dog your team. I like your team.
Okay, so this is from Finn's doc that the reason that the Bills are sucking right now, Brian Daboll left and Ken Dorsey screwed up Allen said, listen, anybody who throws a temper tantrum on live television because he lost to the Dolphins that way, I would say there's something wrong in Ken Dorsey's head, maybe. So, if he's having an influence on Josh Allen, body language, mental mindset, maybe.
I liked what the Bills were doing on offense, actually, at the beginning of the year. They were keeping... I understand that we've talked about Tua, and mostly he needs to stay within the offense to have success. Yes, he can improvise here and there. We've seen it. We saw it against the last game against Cleveland.
He's getting better.
When he did that little pump fake and and all that. But it's limited in what he's going to do when he improvises. He's just not. He needs to stay within the offense. Josh Allen obviously can improvise. We know that. But most of these quarterbacks, even the good ones that can improvise, when they start improvising too much and just trying to play street ball, that's when they make mistakes.
The only one who can do
that. At the beginning of the year, Ken Dorsey and Josh Allen, they had that offense humming. They were keeping everything within 10, 15 yards. I mean, Allen was making nice, accurate throws. They were just really hard to stop. They were doing everything methodically within the offense. And now all of a sudden, I don't know why, they've just gone off track of that. And I think they should, if I was the Bills fans, I would want them to get back to what they look like, obviously, but
Ron,
what they were doing on offense in the first 3, 4, 5 weeks, because they were doing some good things on offense, and none of it was about Josh Allen throwing the ball 60 yards, Josh Allen running around like crazy. None of it was about that. When they start getting into that and making it all about Josh Allen, and that's it, that's when the mistakes start happening. That's when he starts messing up. That's when he starts pressing. That's when they start losing. That's most quarterbacks besides Mahomes.
Would you also agree, though, Ron, that it's because they're also now on tape? And when you basically do kind of the same thing over and over again in this league, you're going to get caught. And to me, when, the Bills really don't have a consistent running game.
No, they don't.
Like Christian
Josh Allen is the running game.
Christian McCaffrey might have been the most important acquisition they should have gone after. And they decided not to because they said, it's fine. We got McKenzie. We got Singletary. We can figure it out.
And most importantly, they have Josh Allen, who is the running game.
They have Josh Allen. But you see the impact that Jimmy Garoppolo now has with a Christian McCaffrey. Like, you give him a toss 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he'll get 25. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that right there is a game changer. And the Bills' offense had an opportunity to do it, and they don't. So now they have to rely on Josh Allen to throw 40 times a game. And that's the one way that you beat them. You stop their run, and you make them do everything. You guys proved it. The Jets proved it. If 2 divisional opponents proved it, it's quite simple. That's the game plan on how to beat the Bills. And I'm sure Ken Dorsey every week is going, okay, well, we have to try something different because the closer we get to December, the closer we get to January, man, it's not going to be looking nice because you saw that game, and I get it. It was, one practice, and the team had to fly and whatever, but the Browns' defense is not really that great. Like, Myles Garrett.
No, the Browns' defense is terrible. It's
the Browns'
terrible.
Myles Garrett has probably had the worst defensive year I have ever seen out of that guy. And all these first-round picks as cornerbacks are just not good. And I'm sorry, it wasn't that impressive, so for sure.
But no, I understand. But whatever they do, they just need to do it within the offense. I think most teams are that way. We love football because we love the improvisation, right? That's the fun part when we see guys improvise and all that. But
Aaron, I'm not slandering Singletary. He's just part of their running back crew in the back program.
He's all right. He's all right.
So I just think that if I was the Bills, I would be trying to get back to staying within the offense and not making it the Josh Allen show. But I hope that they don't because right now it's not working for them.
He's the Josh Allen show. And remember, though, his arm's messed up. I don't care how much pain tolerant, whatever. That's part of his elbow's part of his arm, man. The arm is all this. This is all arm, okay? It's like,
yes, the UCL.
Like, eventually, I don't care how much pain tolerance you have. That's eventually going to catch up to you, man. It is. Even Teron Armstead, I'm sure he was like, oh, thank God, my poor toe. He probably had it lifted up.
And
somewhere.
also, let's also remember this. Cold weather doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
Cold weather does not help injuries like that. So everybody, the entire fan base bitched about the heat in Miami. Well, now you're really going to wish you had some heat in Buffalo because that elbow is going to have to be kept warm 24/7, practice indoors forever. And if, they happily get a playoff game at home, man, I'm pretty sure it's not just going to be, clear skies, so that they're really going to have to figure that out.
Yeah. So so this is where it comes right back to it. And T. Christopher Carter, Cleveland and Miami are 14th and 15th in total defense. They're similar in their weaknesses. I mean, 15th is not the worst.
I'll actually
take
15th because I think we've moved up to 15th. And Cleveland's been kind of heading down the wrong way. And you can't always go by total defense, too. You got to look at things like
because our run defense is rock solid. The pass defense is an issue.
Our run defense is
as long as it's not a quarterback.
Really good, as long as it's not a quarterback. You got it. If it's a quarterback, forget it. That's like I don't want to face it. I'm telling you, I look at every single matchup in the AFC. Obviously, the Chiefs would be the toughest, but the next one in the playoffs that I wouldn't want to see is I don't want to see Lamar Jackson again. I just don't want to see Lamar Jackson again. I don't want to see any more running quarterbacks. We don't seem to have an answer for it or have the personnel for it or both. So, and the running quarterbacks, they kill Miami. But as far as teams trying to just run the ball on us, no, not very good.
Yeah, and Alfredo brings it up. The Cleveland actually has a top offense with Nick Chubb and those guys in there. And perfect cue bringing up Matthew Stafford suffering his second concussion in 2 weeks. Where's the media concern? I don't know. Where is it anyway? I haven't seen any. I haven't heard it, and probably
Where's
It's not
JC
Miami.
Treader? Where's
It's not
JC
Miami.
Treader,
Yeah.
man? Jeez.
Finn's run D is elite. Yeah, as long as like we said, as long as it's not a quarterback. If it's a quarterback, if Lamar Jackson is running that ball, if Josh Allen is running that ball, if Justin Fields is running that ball, then they are going to absolutely wreck us. The thing is though, that if you can somehow manage to make it so that they have to throw the ball, like get up like 2 touchdowns on them, force them to start throwing the football. That's when the weakness.
Somebody just mentioned, and since we don't have I know we'll comment on the game coming up, but and it's it's not going to be much of a game, but since
as you, I'm going to enjoy it.
no, it's not going to be much of a game. See, somebody mentioned about us facing Cincinnati again, that we'd like to see that with a healthy Tua. I'm going to say this. I'm going to go with we don't face Cincinnati again. And here's why we're not going to face Cincinnati again. Here's their schedule.
The playoffs.
Titans, Chiefs, Browns, Bucks, Patriots, Bills, Ravens.
Are you saying that
adios, Joe Burrow?
Are you saying that Deshaun Watson pushes them over the top and gets them in?
No, are you talking about what? The Browns?
The playoffs.
No, I'm saying the Bengals. We're not going to see the Bengals.
You're saying
they're not going to be in the playoffs.
That was the Bengals schedule. I thought you were giving the playoff projection.
No, I'm giving you the Bengals. I'll give it to you again. They face the Titans, the Chiefs,
2,
the Browns. They should win that one.
Well,
the Bucks are going to start getting hot, guys. The Bucks are coming on. The Patriots have a tough defense, man. The Bills and the Ravens.
So that is
good luck.
The Bengals will beat New England.
That is 6 playoff matchups potentially.
They're not going to be favored in but maybe 2 of those games.
So what are you trying to say, Ron, that Joe Burrow's heroics on Sunday at Pittsburgh was
without Jamar Chase? Yes.
Without Jamar Chase was a fluke? That offense is not real?
I think the offense is real. I just don't think they're going to win enough games to get into the playoffs.
Fans on Twitter, though. Don't tell that to Bengals fans.
No. I'm done fighting with fans of other teams on Twitter. I fight with Dolphins fans enough.
Yeah.
That's enough fighting for me.
Well, you know who we can definitely make fun of?
Alf is right. I totally forgot about that Monday night matchup.
Yeah, they destroyed them.
Totally forgot.
That's the thing about divisional games, man. You just never know how that's going to go sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, I know you know, Manny.
Oh,
sorry, bud.
Every day.
You know what I was going to say, though? You know who we can make fun of with no consequence at this moment?
The Amish? No, I don't know who.
I'm about to say. I mean, probably they'll never watch this.
They'll never hear. They'll never find out.
Circus.
Yes.
Who can we make fun of?
The Jets.
Oh yeah, Zach Wilson. Yeah, nobody's gonna come and get on us about that.
I mean, we had our guy I can't remember his name now. Was it Steven, the guy who came into our show in the chat room? Like he's not here. I noticed that he's not here.
Oh yeah, you know why? A couple Jets fans.
You know why he's not? You know why he's not here? Because he has no argument to make.
There was a girl too that came into our chat one time, and she was like nonstop blowing up our chat. Who was a Jets fan?
Oh,
They were actually both respectful and nice though. They weren't rude, but boy, they were in there.
But they talked a lot of smack. I'll tell you what, and like there is no smack to talk today.
Well, they do have a very top caliber defense.
Yes, but their quarterback
you ain't gonna win many games when your quarterback is overthrowing everybody less than 10 yards.
I sent out a tweet, and they're like in that phase where the Dolphins this is after the Dolphins had a great defense, right? In 2001, they had a great defense.
He's right.
And then they had a good defense as that great defense kind of trickled down into a good defense, right? And we were going through that whole AJ Feely, Trent Green, Brian Greasy, Cleo Lemon, Ray Lucas.
Sorry, Manny. The last one from Aaron.
Yeah,
that got me.
That's the phase they're in right now. They're in that phase. They're in that phase of having this good defense.
Oh, that's funny.
And just no quarterback. And they're going to put in Flacco, or they're going to put in Mike White. And yeah, maybe these guys will spark them here or there, and possibly they're better than Zach Wilson. But
Ron, so the word on Jets Twitter as of yesterday was that they just need a quarterback that could maintain the game or contain the game,
and doesn't look like he belongs on the Disney
against the that's funny. Looks like a Disney Channel quarterback.
Just
you're watching
convert
Disney
third
Channel.
downs and have a good one drive touchdown, and our defense can do.
Honestly, against the Patriots, they're right. I'm telling you right now, if the Jets had Skylar Thompson, I'd be nervous about him. Like, they don't need a crazy good quarterback right now. They have a really good defense, but I can't believe they've stuck with Zach Wilson as long as they have. He just isn't getting better.
Listen, I'll give Kiana this, because T. Christopher saying that Zach Wilson's the 34th ranked QB. Yes, that's true. But you know what? If he had not said what he said in the press conference, and this is the exact same thing that made me not like the likes of Josh Rosen, that made me not like Baker Mayfield when they were coming out of college,
and other players.
It's like that's the reason why I didn't like these types of quarterbacks. There's a reason I don't like same reason I don't like Aaron Rodgers, even though I acknowledge his greatness as a quarterback. Josh Rosen had the same attitude. I'm so much better than everybody else. Baker Mayfield, I'm
spoiled
so
rich
better
white
than everybody
kid
else.
Attitude. That's what it is.
The spoiled
Johnny Manziel, spoiled rich white kid attitude.
He's a spoiled brat, and so is Zach Wilson. And that is why I think that they are doomed to fail. Zach Wilson, if he had the correct attitude, if he was humble, if he was willing to look at himself in the mirror and say, you know what, maybe it is me that I'm the problem and I have to do something to get better about it. No, instead it's about, oh, I know, I didn't let my defense down. What do you mean you didn't let your defense down? You couldn't score points, and you're the quarterback. It's your fault.
I will say this, though, Lewis. I think this week was a different animal for Zach. If he didn't realize that he can get pulled at any time during the game this week, this upcoming week, he for sure knows that now. So now we're really going to see when the pressure is up against the wall, right? And if you're a Jet fan, you can't just bench him just because of this. You got to figure out he's your quarterback. No, you got to figure out he's your quarterback.
No, he's not.
I'm great with him doing that.
When he said what he said, then nobody in the locker room wants him now.
This was rebuilding year.
I'm great with them doing that, but I don't think they should. I would love it if they would, but I don't think that's what they should do. I think Zach Wilson needs to sit on the bench right now. I think
Joe Flacco.
It's not just about the play, but it's about the fact that if it's more about the quarterback play now, so the coach is going to lose that locker room if he continues to play Zach Wilson with the attitude he has and the lack of accountability. He's going to lose that locker room because that defense is already annoyed.
Ron, well then whose fault is that? Has he been held accountable for all this other chaos stuff throughout the season? We don't know either. So maybe Saleh really hasn't done much about it. And now he's realizing that he's losing the locker room.
I think he needs to bench him now.
I'm gonna
go listen. Good luck with Mike White, whatever his name is.
What's up with Flacco? Is Flacco hurt or something?
I'm gonna welcome Alfredo Arteaga to the show. I want to get your thoughts on this whole thing we're talking about.
Yeah, I think Robert Saleh is met with the same decision that Brian Flores had to make 2 years ago. Do you care about trying to make the playoffs, or do you care about developing the quarterback? And 2 years ago, Brian Flores decided, no, I care about the playoffs. And that's why he started playing fast and loose with benching Tua Tagovailoa. He benched him in Denver in a one-score game, okay? And then he got nervous enough against the Raiders when Tua had no picks. He had a touchdown. He had a 99 quarterback rating. He benched him down 3 points, okay? He didn't even allow him to have any heroics. So Robert Saleh has a decision to make. If he wants to make the playoffs, he starts Flacco or Mike White or whoever. If he wants to develop the quarterback, he has to stick with him at least for the year. We know he's garbage, but
yes, Randy,
they got to go through the whole process to see whether he's garbage or not. Although we kind of know he's garbage.
And the difference was that Tua is actually a good quarterback in a really rotten situation, whereas Zach Wilson is just a bad quarterback.
But would we have known that Tua is this good if this change would not have happened, right? So who's to say?
What do you mean?
Zach with the right coach, right?
Zach Wilson has a 10 times better offensive line, running game, wide receivers than Tua ever dreamed of having his first 2 years here.
Okay, Ron,
and Tua is absolutely outperforming him. But Zach Wilson's got that rocket on.
And listen, and I'll also say this: even in his worst moments, Tua did not look as bad as Zach Wilson.
No, even at his worst.
You know what? That slant pass that he threw against the Patriots off his back foot. I kind of said to myself, that makes me cringe as an NFL fan.
What was cringeworthy was the Jets getting the ball back with 2 minutes left and then trying to run out the clock to go to overtime. They were trying to play
That
for a
is
tie.
basically saying my quarterback cannot get us down the field for a field goal.
Yeah, they got the ball at the 25-yard line, and they decided, they looked at the clock, they saw that they had 2 timeouts, they had 2 minutes left, and they decided, you know what? It probably is a good idea if we kill the whole 2 minutes here. And it actually worked. They actually killed the 2 minutes until they punted, and then they lost the game on a punt.
The only punt return touchdown in the entire league this year.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I mean, yeah. I'm looking at. That's what I was talking about, and I was talking about the schedule. Is like, aside from the 49ers and the Bills, and if you squint, the Chargers, there's nobody left on this schedule that Miami cannot absolutely blow out if they really do well.
No, it's also about looking at everybody else's schedule. The playoffs, like everybody else is just gonna win Miami into the playoffs, basically. Because you look at New England's schedule, it's murder. The Bengals schedule is murder.
Yeah, I just was talking about that.
And those are the top 2 teams for the 7th seed. So, you know, the Dolphins get to 10, they're in the playoffs, but they got bigger fish to fry. They got to make a run at this division. It's within their reach to get it. And I was doing earlier today, I was doing some simulations based on just favorites, the money line favorites, and then like the preseason over-unders as far as wins. And there's like 5 out of 6 scenarios. There's 5 scenarios where the Dolphins can lose one of the California games and lose the Bills game and still win the division if the Bills lose to the Lions this Thursday. And I think that game is absolutely live on Thursday. If you want a sneaky important game, it's that game on Thursday. That game on Thursday is extremely important. If the Bills lose that game, it opens up the division backdoor for the Dolphins wide open, to the point where, like I'm telling you, they could lose one of the California games and lose the Bills game and still win the division by just winning out. Like, they actually control their own destiny if that happens. But yeah, that game is live. That game is really live on Thursday.
And how many times have we heard in the past several years about how the Dolphins controlled their own destiny? We've heard it so many times.
Joe Philbin-led staff. This is not a Joe Philbin.
No, it's definitely not. And that's like the Dolphins controlling
those dark times, Louis.
The Dolphins controlling their destiny actually means something now. That's so wild to be able to say that. This is our Jets guy. Hello, Matthew.
Oh, hey, Matthew.
Listen, you're the best corner in the
I'm
division,
sorry.
maybe, but you know what? Your quarterback's the worst in the division. Okay, I'm not just telling you that right now. Like, not even close.
Sauce Gardner is putting a lot of stuff on tape right now that a lot of teams are going to start bringing up once the Jets become just a little bit relevant, and then those pass interference penalties are just going to come parading.
Alf, what are you seeing though in your eyes, real quick? Because I don't have the all 22, but it's quite clear though that it was like whatever he was doing in the beginning of the season. Obviously, he knew that he can kind of get away with, and as the season has progressed, obviously, I think Reed is better than him, but I've been told I'm wrong. So I don't know if you've seen something different on the whole like tape.
Well, they play a lot of zone coverages, and he's extremely good at playing with leverage. Like, he understands leverage. Like, he's really, really smart, and he's rarely in man. Like, I think the last numbers that I saw was that he was in man only 22% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But for as little as he's been in man, he's actually been pretty good at it. You know,
okay.
But he's very grabby, very sticky. Like, he could run.
Very hands-on, correct. That's what
He's very hands-on.
Very hands-on. Yeah.
I mean,
what's going to happen is that as soon as the Jets get a little bit more relevant, because they're not really considered that relevant right now, and Sauce Gardner is getting a big reputation, but once they're in the conversation for like a playoff spot, some team, it could be the Bills, it could be the Dolphins, they're going to send a massive cut up of like 20 minutes of Sauce Gardner grabbing everybody in the league. They're going to send it to the league, and then they're going to start watching it. And then once they start watching it, he's going to start getting hit with a big pass interference penalty every single game until he takes that out of his game.
Alf, I have a question. You watched the film when the Dolphins faced the Jets the first game?
Yeah.
Was Sauce Gardner shadowing Tyreek Hill or no?
No.
He
never.
was not. Okay. And then the times he was covering Tyreek, what
He
was
gave up. He gave up a total of 96 yards, I believe it was, and 41 of them were on a pass interference penalty.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Is like
shadowing Tyreek Hill.
You give somebody
Comedy
like
over
if
here.
you give somebody like Sauce Gardner, who is
No, that's
good,
insanity. Whoever thinks that they would put Sauce Gardner on an island with Tyreek Hill, they're crazy.
Please, I beg you, please do it. Speaking of man coverage, did you see how much man the Chargers were playing against the Chiefs?
Well, they don't have nobody.
Can someone remind me who the best
Ron.
quarterback in the league is against man this year? I think I've forgotten who that is.
No, but like Ron,
Tagovailoa.
they told hold on, Ron. They told Derwin James cover that guy the whole game, and they saw him getting beat every single time. At some point, you got to put two guys on him. I don't care. Have somebody else beat you, right? Like I would think so. I mean, your head coach is a defensive mind, correct? And your best player on defense is getting beat. Put two guys.
I don't think their head coach has a mind. I think he's going to be fired.
That
Or I don't think he's going to have a job.
Hey, I'm glad I was really, really early on that train. Last year, I think it was week 3. I remember having debates with other people that used to be on this network where they were like, Brandon Staley's like a really good coach. And I'm like, I think the guy is borderline stupid. And you guys remember, I was on.
I definitely remember that, Alf, because
it was like week 3.
I produced all those shows, Alf. Don't forget.
It was like week 3, and Brandon Staley was like, I don't know, 3-0. I don't know what they were last year, maybe 2-1. And I'm like, he might be a really good coach. I'm like, I think he's pretty stupid. Like he does things that are dumb, like really dumb, and he just compounded it. He just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and now he's like really, really smart.
You know what's interesting about like when we look at the AFC West versus the AFC East? Obviously, right now the AFC East, everybody has a winning record. In the AFC West, and you look at the AFC West, and everyone was looking at all the talent.
And all
But
those teams are garbage.
Nathaniel Hackett, Brandon Staley, Josh McDaniels, no one was really paying attention to the fact that
Ron, you want to see something?
coaching.
Ron, you want to see something really, really funny?
Oh my God, those names.
You know how close the Denver Broncos were to being like the best team in the AFC? All they had to do was score more than 18 points like 7 times. That's it. Wow. So any other quarterback, I don't know, like who was available, man? Not Russell Wilson, obviously, because that's who they got. Let's say they would have signed Geno Smith. Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
That defense, look at their schedule. Look at their schedule and look at how many teams they've held to 18 points or less this season. Like they should be something like 9-1 or something like that.
You're talking about the Broncos, right?
Yeah, the Broncos. Look at how many teams they've held to less than 18 points.
With defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero. I've never heard of him.
Look at how many games.
You're right. It's the Raiders. It's the Titans. It's no, they beat the Niners. Who else did they lose to? That's 2.
They lost to a lot of teams.
Yeah, no, but they lost to sorry ass teams. The Colts. The Colts on that Thursday night horror. Oh my God, they lost.
Seattle, I think, is in there too.
Seattle did beat them, correct.
And what was the score of that
actually,
game?
Russell did lead them on a game-winning field goal drive, but
what was the score of that game?
I think it was maybe 2019, 2018, something like that.
Oh, there you go.
And they missed a field goal in the end.
Hey man, are you getting nervous about your Eagles? You know, they lost to the Commanders, and now
I was nervous.
1-point game against the Colts.
I was nervous in the first defensive drive, but I feel like once that happened, you kind of saw that Joseph and Sue do fit somewhere. We just need Jordan Davis back, man.
We literally talked about Ndamukong Suh during our midseason.
I know. I saw your response.
I was like, man, less than $1 million.
No, but I mean, Ron.
I thought it was an important game. I was at a friend's house who's a big Cowboys fan, and we were watching the game, and he was like rooting for the Colts. And as we were watching that game, and the Eagles were down 10, I told my friend, look, this is a really important game for the Eagles. If they lose this game from here, down 10, like this is a problem going forward. They need to know that they could come back on somebody
Yes.
down 10 going into the fourth quarter, because that happens all the time. That happens all the time in the NFL. You're not always up going into the fourth quarter. Sometimes you're down 10. Sometimes you're down 7, and they needed to know that they can do that, and they did. I'm looking at the schedule right here. Broncos lost to the Seahawks, giving up 17 points.
That's fun.
They beat the Texans, scoring 16.
Oh,
They beat the Raiders, scoring 11.
gosh.
Okay.
Then
that was a shootout against the Raiders. Okay. They lost to the Colts, giving up 12. They lost to the Chargers, giving up 19. They lost to the Jets, giving up 16.
Oh, they lost to the Jets.
Giving up 16 points. Okay. They beat the Jaguars. They lost to the Titans, giving up 17.
That's 5.
And they lost to the Raiders, giving up 22. That was it.
6.
The Raiders twice is the only 2 teams that have scored more than 18 points on them all year.
Those are 6 games that if your offense could have at least given you 3 to 4 quality scoring drives, you probably would have won the game.
Have you seen the dude on Twitter?
If they had an average offense, I'm not talking about a great offense, an offense that could average 19 points a game, right?
Correct. Yeah, because they have a solid defense, not a question. Like, we can say that.
They would be 8-2. They would be like 8-2 right now.
Have you seen the guy on Twitter who's tracking with a graph? He's tracking with a graph how many bathrooms Russell Wilson in his house has in his house versus how many touchdown passes he's thrown this year, and which one will win out.
Yeah.
And like he goes 9 weeks in, this is actually going to be close. It's hilarious, man.
Is Russell Wilson washed up, or is this just a result of the Broncos being absolutely incompetent at everything they do on offense?
I think
he's washed up.
He's washed up. I think maybe it's him being washed up and just a complete system change. I think being with Seattle and being able to relate to that offense for such a long time. But also, it could be Paul Hackett, bro. He's probably not that good either. It's like I don't even know what to think. I think, it feels like it's like a massive train effect. It's like you suck. We all suck together.
Yeah, you got to remember that Denver, that wasn't Plan A. Plan A was Aaron Rodgers. Remember that. Mm-hmm. And then Plan A didn't come through.
During the draft, right out? Right?
Yeah, their original plan was to get Hackett to pair him with Rodgers because that was Aaron Rodgers' boy. And then the trade didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So
Aaron Rodgers is going to end up a Jet next year, isn't he?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, I hope not, man.
Aaron Rodgers is the last guy that would want to go to New York and deal with the media.
Oh, that's true. He wants to
hide in the woods. He wants to hide in the woods somewhere.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers
he left
to be a hermit.
Football.
He wants to be West Coast.
You guys think that maybe Lamar Jackson goes to the Jets?
If he gets away from Baltimore, I'm sure they'll make a run at him.
I'm
the
told,
AFC East would be lit for a decade after that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, they need to have the assets to be able to trade for him. But remember what Baltimore said. Baltimore said, no, he's not going anywhere. We got 2 franchise tags back to back, loaded and ready to hit him with, because essentially that's what's the new contract's going to be anyway. Because if you think about it, what does Lamar Jackson want? He wants $260 million guaranteed at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they franchise tag him back to back years, that's $100 million guaranteed. Think about it. The Ravens are saving $160 million. You know what I mean?
But if I'm Lamar, do I even want to do that?
No, but Lamar has to have the guts to say, you know what, I'm sitting out the year.
Yeah.
That's the only way. The only way that he can fight it is by saying, I'm sitting out the year.
Which doesn't always work out.
No, look, it didn't work out for Le'Veon Bell.
But he's not a quarterback, though. He's not a franchise quarterback.
So maybe this time it will work.
It almost didn't work for Deshaun Watson. Almost.
I think, though, we got to remember that the Texans told him, please go away. He was like, okay, fine. I'll go away. Pay me. I'll go away.
Yeah. And then the Browns got really, really desperate.
Oh, man, they got desperate.
What was it? 3 first-round picks?
3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks.
God, bro.
And a boatload of cash for a guy who wasn't going to play half the year.
Seattle are like, yes.
So basically what this boils down to is everybody should be incredibly grateful that we have Tua Tagovailoa here.
And I am grateful I have Jalen Hurts.
There you go.
Yeah,
So
you should be.
the Bama Q,
He's
the
awesome.
Bama QBs.
Russell Wilson probably would have gotten booed by week 2.
And Hurts is a year behind Tua too. So, or no, they were the same draft, weren't
They're in
they?
the
They were
same
the
draft.
Draft.
He was a second-round pick.
That's right.
Yeah.
They were the same. Man, what a draft that was.
Although Hurts, I believe, is a year older. That's it.
I'm going to pull up this one more comment, Lewis, from YouTube. I want to go to it real quick.
Oh yeah, we still had a couple more, right?
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah, this is from Sid Reddy. Because this is actually, it's interesting we're bringing this up. Think the coaching staff would ever trust Byron Jones again? I would never go into next season banking on him and his 2 career interceptions. He will not be a Dolphin next year. They were going to trade him before the drama. No way they're going to keep him now. I still do not believe that the Dolphins were having any intention of trading Byron Jones, of getting rid of Byron Jones. I still think that maybe... this is just my opinion. I don't have any insider info on it. I still feel like that at this point in his career, it might be in Byron Jones' best interest to do kind of like the Albert Wilson thing, show that he can still handle it, show that he can still play, maybe take a mild, not necessarily a drastic one, but a mild pay cut to say, look, here, I'm still here. I can play. Watch this. And then after that, maybe he can be like, okay, this is the new tape for my new team. Because any team that signs him after whatever this whole weird mystery injury is that we don't know what's going on, is it a setback? Does he just not feel like it? All that is just bad reputation. So he needs to come back and play at some point, show that he can still do it. And then maybe if he can do that, then maybe he might be able to push something later. If he doesn't come back, then he needs to take a pay cut and stay with Miami, because he is not going to get a bigger contract somewhere else after not playing a whole year.
He doesn't have to take a pay cut. I don't think he has to.
I mean, no one has to do anything, but
but I'll tell you one thing, because I'm looking up some things here. I'm pretty sure they tried to trade him in the offseason.
Oh,
yeah. I'm pretty sure. Like, look, I'm looking at his contract. Like, yeah, he doesn't have to take a pay cut from anybody. Like, he could say, cut me, and they got to pay off part of his contract. So, yeah, like, what's voidable here? Potential 2023 is year 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I
understand the dead cap situation. I really, really do. But
he's older. I think what Byron Jones is going to look at is he's going to look at what Stephon Gilmore got this past year from the Colts. He got a 2-year, $20 million deal.
But I think that's what Byron Jones will be making.
Yeah, but it's something. It's better than nothing. It's better than taking a pay cut off of this. Like,
so he's afraid to put out bad tape because he doesn't think he'll get that.
Would you give, like, look, let's say Byron Jones doesn't come back this year, although they're expecting him to come back. They're expecting him to come back.
I want to
let's say he doesn't come back this year. Would you give him 2 years, $20 million next year?
Yes.
Guaranteed?
Yeah.
You know what?
He's not going to take it if it's not
some
guaranteed.
team might. Some team might.
That's what I'm saying. A contender is going to look at it. First of all, the cap is going to be much, much bigger than it is right now. It's going to be massive in 2024 when all these TV deals get factored in. I think a contender is going to look at Byron Jones and going to say, you know what? I think he can play. We'll give him the Stephon Gilmore contract. If you want him, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to guarantee him somewhere around $20 million for 2 years to keep him on a quote-unquote pay cut, because he's making $18 million next year. Okay? So if you want him to take a pay cut, you're going to have to guarantee at least $20 million of it.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I do. I don't like the idea of, and I've said this before, I know that they're trying to transition to a more pass rush heavy type of defense as opposed to a cornerback secondary defense, but I don't like downgrading at a position. I don't know if Kader Kohu is on Byron Jones level yet. I don't know if he will be on his level next year.
No, but you're going to have an entire offseason to replace him.
Right, but that's the question. With who, though? Like, who's
maybe Nick Needham comes back as well.
I wouldn't put Nick Needham in Byron Jones's stratosphere either. Like, he's good.
Hey, but Byron Jones, look, he hasn't played this year. He's going to be 31 next year. Maybe Byron Jones' best days are already behind him, and he obviously had a setback because they were expecting him for week 1, and then they said, nah, week 5 because he has to be on this IR list for 4 weeks, and then it was like, okay, maybe week 6, and then it was like, okay, maybe week 9, and now it's already week 12, and he's still not here, and he's still not activated. So,
we've been carrying him on the roster now. He's been taking up a spot for what, 6-7 weeks?
Yeah, all year basically.
Yeah, it's frustrating because we're just so. That's like our biggest weakness, and we have the player to help fix it on the freaking team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the one spot of the team that you could say, if anything, that's going to cost us winning the Super Bowl, it would be that, right? It would be the secondary. There was secondary melting down because of all the injuries, especially. The player we need is on the team.
And I'll tell you one thing about Byron
Jones,
Jones,
man.
The way he fits in this system, I think going forward is probably going to be at free safety. Because remember, you have injuries at safety. Brandon Jones is out for the year. So, and Javon Holland can play anywhere, and he's really good at playing in the box and near the line of scrimmage, and he's really good as a blitzer.
So bring Holland down to the strong safety spot and make
Byron the free safety for the rest of the year. Like, that's something he can do. And that gives you your best players, really. Like, that way you have your best players out there. Because I've seen Kader Kohu now play as a slot guy and as a boundary guy, and they actually like him better on the boundary. And he's a really good tackler, too, in space. So,
man, you know who that would – man, that right there, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Alf. You know where I really love that is if we could do that against San Fran and have Holland down in the box against CMC, man, because you saw the way they're lining CMC up out wide, and I'm thinking, who do we have that can match that? And then Holland, that's who. But he's got to be down in the box to be able to do that. He can't be playing free safety. Mm-hmm. That would really work out, but I don't know. That's close. I mean, that's what, 14, 15 days, away. I don't know if he's going to be back to, all of a sudden, you're the starting free safety now against the Niners. That doesn't seem realistic.
I mean, again, he's in the building. He's not just like sitting on his couch eating corn pops.
That's true.
He's there. True. So he's got to be privy to everything that's going on, everything that's being talked about. So it's just very bizarre to me, the silence of it all. I mean, if there was a setback, just say that there was a setback and we'll get off his back. But now it just feels like...
No, but they did say that there was a setback. They just didn't say what was the setback. If it was another injury or if it was the same injury,
I guess that's the part of it that I would like a little transparency about it, because it's like, okay, his Achilles went wrong. Okay, fine. We say we understand. If it's more like he did something stupid in the offseason and he ended up hurting himself again, well, that's a different discussion, in which case I understand why they wouldn't want to say it, but it does open up that speculation that something unwise was done that we're not being told about.
Talk about unknown.
I would say I would say that something happened during the season that re-aggravated the injury, or that is the quote unquote setback, because he worked out in June, and that's when they determined that he will be back for week 1. And then they said, okay, that was way too optimistic. He'll be back for week 5, and then nothing. So something happened in his run up to week 5 that caused him to have this setback. And who knows what it is, really. Like, it could be anything. It could be atrophy from Achilles surgery. Like, that's entirely possible. Dan Marino played a year with atrophy in his Achilles, where you can see his leg was half the size. The leg where he had the Achilles surgery was half the size of his normal leg. Remember?
Yeah, so I remember that.
He played an entire season like that, but that's a quarterback, right?
See, Lewis, Dan Marino was this guy who used to play quarterback for the Dolphins a long time ago. He was really good. Do we have any tweets?
We have tweets, yes, but we have one more comment that I'm just wanting.
Oh, no, go for it. Go for it. I just want to make sure we got more humorous too.
It's more humorous than anything else, but go ahead, Manny. Put the last one there.
Give me 1 second.
You know what? While Manny's doing that, you know what I would think the big mystery is that I want to know beyond what happened to Byron Jones and his setback. I want to know what happened to that run game coordinator for the Cardinals in Mexico City last night. That's what I want to know.
we could read between the lines, right? They said it was an incident, right?
Well, I'd love to know what that incident.
Apparently,
was.
I'm the biggest Tua hater on 5 Reasons Sports. I don't know. I don't know what
Lewis
I might.
is the biggest Tua hater.
I don't know what I said. Maybe I said something like he was. I mean, I literally said last show that he was elite.
Poor Lewis.
What?
Poor Lewis. Like you, man. Sometimes you'll say the smallest thing, and people.
I
just
literally
take
said
it
he was elite. I don't understand why
the wrong way. I remember like 4 or 5 years ago when he was in college. You
okay,
accidentally
don't bring that
attributed
back.
him.
Don't bring that back. Oh, yeah. And now
okay, I won't say it. I won't even say it. But you said something about him, being more of a runner than a thrower.
You said it anyway. You said it.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think you had to leave Twitter for like 5 months, man.
and now the last comment on YouTube for the last video was they're begging us to please talk one at a time.
Wow, what fun is that?
I know, right? That's like first take. Like, okay, so what I'm gonna do now is whatever the next topic is, I'm just gonna say blah 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 just for the fun of it.
I'll tell you what. Look, I remember Tua Tagovailoa from his run up to getting recruited by Alabama, and I remember him being the top recruit because I used to follow it more than I do now, but I follow it and I knew he was the top recruit at quarterback, and then Simon told me no, he's really really good and he's gonna go to Alabama, and he's gonna be better than Jalen Hurts, and I'm like, really? He's better than Jalen Hurts? Like Jalen Hurts is the Heisman candidate right now for Alabama for the number 1 team in the nation. And then I saw him come in to that national championship game. And from that moment on, I said, I'm not missing a snap this kid plays. And every Saturday I watched Alabama play. I watched him play. And that's how I made my evaluation. I looked at him and I said, this guy is going to be something. And then I basically gave up when he was a sophomore. I gave up. I was like, you know what? We're not going to get this guy because we're never going to be able to draft number 1 to take him. And then the tanking year, I was like, okay, it's happening. And when he got hurt, I was all in. And I was like, this is going to – the best thing that ever happened to us was that he got hurt.
I thought the best thing that ever happened to us was Laramie Tunsil.
Best thing that ever happened to us is Mike McDaniel.
We've had a lot of good things happening lately.
We have.
I thought the best thing that happened to your franchise was hiring Adam Gase and realizing what a mistake that was.
Yeah.
Okay, but Adam Gase, it didn't take long for him to expose himself as the egomaniac that he is. Is he even coaching anywhere right now?
Do not kill my vibe, Lou.
No, he's not.
I'm gonna
think about it. It was like a whole thing. It was like the snowball effect, right? Where one thing led to the other, right? You hire Adam Gase, he kind of fixes Tannehill, but then Tannehill gets injured, screws up Adam Gase. They decide it's time to revamp the whole goddamn team. They tank. They draft Tua, trade Tunsil, and here we are.
Yeah.
So then, Alf, what if you would have beaten the Bengals in that game? Would you still have drafted Joe Burrow?
If they would have beaten the Bengals, well, they did beat the Bengals.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. If they would have lost to the Bengals.
They were going to take Joe Burrow because, as it turns out, that's who everybody in the building really liked. Like that was the one guy that everybody was like on board. Like, okay, yeah, we like this guy. You know?
In your eyes, Alf, because I trust you more than anybody on our network because you watch so much tape. Who has the better arm strength
between Burrow and Tua?
Yeah,
Tua.
Really?
Yeah, Tua has a better arm strength. What Burrow has is he has better functional arm strength because Joe Burrow has the best mechanics in football. He has the best mechanics in the NFL.
The best footwork and side.
Yeah, he has the best. He has the best torque and the best mechanics. But if both guys sat there and threw into a jugs machine, I would say they'd be equal, like about almost exactly equal. But in a game, Burrow's going to throw it harder and he's going to throw it farther than Tua because he has better mechanics.
I think he's actually better since his ACL. Like he came back with a stronger core and actually seems to throw it even better.
He was really smart. He was an average quarterback, but he was highly touted. You don't get to go to Ohio State, and then transfer to LSU, and they're handing you a job. Okay, that means you had talent to begin with. It was just unrealized talent. And then he decided, you know what? I want to get my schooling out of the way early, and I'm essentially going to dedicate myself just to football, because he was essentially a professional player the last year at LSU. You know, he didn't go in any classes because he had already graduated the year before. So he didn't have to go to classes. So he spent all his time with Joe Brady, learning the offense, practicing, working on his footwork, working on his mechanics.
Yeah.
And he deserves credit because he turned himself into the number 1 overall pick.
Where is Joe Brady now? Because I was once told he's the newest.
He's in Buffalo. He's the quarterback.
Oh, so he's with Dorsey and that offense.
Yeah, he's the QB's coach.
He's the QB coach.
Lewis and Ron. Now this makes it even, to me, in my eyes, if I'm a Bills fan, I'm even more worried. Because you're supposed to have one of the freshest offensive minds in the last 10 years or so to coming into your coaching staff. Not to mention you brought in Ken Dorsey, who made Cam Newton, per se, what he was that year. They made it to the Super Bowl. And you have a Josh Allen at quarterback that's way better than anything. So what is going? Something is not making sense.
They need to. Apparently, whatever DeBoll could do to rein in Allen to make him stay within the offense, Dorsey and Brady can't do.
Bro,
let me say this.
Look, he just needs to stay within the offense. Look, he's phenomenal.
I love Ken Dorsey. Okay, but he's gotten a lot of credit that he probably didn't deserve. Okay. Remember, he was quarterback coach the year that Cam Newton won the MVP, right?
Correct. The year they went to the Super Bowl.
But the offensive coordinator was Mike Shula. Okay. And then Ken Dorsey goes to Buffalo. Right? And he's the quarterback's coach for Josh Allen.
Hey, Alf.
Brian Daboll is the OC.
Hey, Alf.
Yeah.
You know where Mike Shula is right now?
I have no idea where Mike Shula is right now.
He's a senior offensive assistant coach with the Buffalo Bills.
Really?
I didn't even know that.
Mike Shula really is there?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now on Wikipedia. He's right there. He's with the
Sean
Buffalo
McDermott.
Bills.
Sean McDermott
he's like a coordinator.
Sean McDermott definitely wanted no part of his hands on that offense, and he has 3 brains in there, and they can't see. Oh man, that is. Damn.
It's from March 15th. Mike Shula was added to the staff as a senior offensive assistant.
Wow,
that's just basically saying just come here. We'll just make something up for you.
And when he gets the title of senior offensive assistant, that means that he's basically
the one in charge, right?
No, he's basically like
the lead whisperer,
like a consultant. You know what I mean? Like he sits in the meetings.
You mean how Jeff Saturday was a consultant on the coach staff, like that?
Yeah, like that. Yeah. So in other words, if this goes bad for Buffalo, you know who's getting fired and who's getting the job?
Mike Shula.
Yeah.
I still want one day, I don't know how, maybe as a senior offensive assistant, Mike Shula needs to come home. He needs to come home.
Fun segment. It was a very fun segment.
Well, Mike Shula's now 57. Like I had no idea how old he was.
Wasn't Mike Shula once an Alabama head coach?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
He was the coach.
He was the head coach, I think.
Before Saban.
Before Saban, yeah.
Before Saban?
I remember those. I remember the Mike Shula Bama days. You know what? We were decent. Bama was decent, but they couldn't beat Auburn. They couldn't beat Auburn, and when you can't beat Auburn, you can't be the head coach at Alabama. I don't care what else you do.
There's some breaking news.
Breaking news. Oh boy.
Go ahead.
Dolphins 49ers was on the table to be flexed to Sunday night.
It's now flex?
No. They decided not to, and they're keeping Colts Cowboys on Sunday night.
How about them Cowboys?
So if you want,
you know what? I hope the Colts beat them just because of that.
How does that
so if you wanted to see Miami and the 49ers on Sunday Night Football, you're not going to get it. Okay, so there's only one more shot at another Sunday Night Football game, and that's against the Bills, December 18th.
How could you not? How could the league think that Colts Cowboys would bring more eyeballs?
Because the Cowboys, Ron, they're America's team. Skip Bayless loves the Cowboys, and Stephen A. hates the Cowboys, which makes for great television, both directions.
Like that's a bad move, right?
That is horrible. I don't
understand that.
Because it shouldn't be about one team. It should be about the matchup.
Absolutely.
And that's the best matchup for Week 13. Week 13, there's no better matchup. Look at all the storylines. Shanahan versus McDaniel, You know
we
what I
want
mean?
to see Tyreek Hill get a handoff and go 85 yards, like Ron's trying to say. Like that's what we want to see on primetime television. You know?
Yeah, like it's a great matchup, but it's not happening. So that game is staying at 4:30.
Duke
on
says it's
Oh,
going to
okay.
get
Sunday.
flipped to the CBS's major late game.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That's their
so,
fourth
Yeah,
so
Sunday
but
that's
game.
why.
all of the,
So
but all the networks work together now. Like it's not like the NFC's only on Fox and the AFC's only on CBS.
So you think that maybe CBS said, no, you're not taking away
Probably.
Dolphins
Yeah,
49ers?
they probably fought it. Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Everybody wants the Dolphins all of a sudden now, right? Nobody wanted us before.
Did I have a moment, or did Keyshawn Johnson kind of give a backhanded compliment to the Dolphins lately?
Absolutely. Dolphins Niners potential Super Bowl matchup potentially. Yeah.
Yeah,
it
there
could
was
happen.
one. There was one comment right there that said they had to. That it's good that it wasn't flex because they had to travel to Buffalo. Afterwards. No, they don't. They're staying out west. They play the Chargers the following week.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
so Ron thinks that matchup between the Chargers is not even going to be close. What do you
I
think?
don't think it's gonna be close either. I look at the Chargers and they look like. Oof.
Hold on, Ron. I'm asking off a question. Hold on.
Producer's talking. You leave him alone.
Hold on, sir. Please continue off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if the Chargers stay injured, okay, and they didn't look healthy, okay, and Keenan Allen hasn't looked healthy all year. He did not look healthy again Sunday night. If they're going to be injured against Miami, they're not going to be much of a threat. But, maybe they get healthy by then. They got a long way to go. They got almost 3 weeks for that game. So maybe they'll be healthy by then. They also play awful at home for whatever reason. They play better on the road.
They don't really have a home field advantage. They don't really have fans at home.
I don't think that's their home out.
Yeah, it's not
and I'm pretty sure that stadium is going to be rocking for the Dolphins, I think.
Oh, that is going to be Hard Rock 2.0. I guarantee you right now. It is when the Eagles go, the Vikings go, the Cowboys go, everybody else goes. Even the Browns. Even the Brown fans outwork the Chargers fans. It's not even close.
like the big matchup is that 49er game. Dolphins win that game. You can start fist pumping all you want because they're going to put up a big number at the end of the year. Like it's no longer about 11 wins. Now we're working on 12 and 13 wins if they win that 49er game. Because they win that game. I think that game is probably the toughest one the rest of the way.
Oh, absolutely. 100%, even more so.
And I know somebody out there is saying, well, what about the Bills? No. I think that 49er game is tougher than the Bills.
I agree.
Because think about everything that's going to be involved in that game. First of all, the 49ers are really, really good. They're really talented. They have a really good team. They have a great pass rush, great defense, good running game, good passing game right now.
They have everything.
Quarterback is hot. But think about all the other things. Their offensive, well, not their offensive coordinator, their head coach knows our head coach inside and out. He's the guy who brought him up. You know what I mean?
But our head coach knows their head coach inside and out too.
But, if there's a team.
Not to mention this Dolphins head coach knows what that defensive coach loves to do.
Yes, he does. He knows those tendencies.
Practice
he knows
day in and day out.
But if there's a team that we're not going to catch off guard, because there's been certain teams this year where we line up, we start running our offense, and they're like, what in the hell is going on here? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If there's going to be one team that's going to look at us and say, yeah, we recognize that. We know that. Yeah, we've seen that before. It's going to be the 49ers. So I think that's going to be a great matchup. Dolphins win that one. You can start beating your chest a little bit.
Party.
Yeah, that's a great game.
I want to do another watch party.
No, we should. Like that game at 4:25 in 2 weeks from now, I think, will really speak on where this Dolphins season is heading. Well, you know how we all thought it was the Bills game, the Ravens game, and all these other matchups that were on the schedule. It's quite clear that this matchup, in 2 weeks against San Francisco, seeing what they did last night, we all said it's the Arizona Cardinals. But
yeah, because I made a prediction on the podcast that look, because if you make the Super Bowl, and I was saying, look, if they make the Super Bowl, they're winning it, okay? Because I think the best teams are in the AFC, all right? Because you're gonna have to beat Kansas City. If you beat Kansas City this year, you're probably the best team. If they beat the 49ers, that's like confirmation. Like, okay, if they make the Super Bowl, the Dolphins are probably going to win it.
I'm going to be honest with you, Alf. I'm not that Patrick Mahomes doesn't scare me, but I feel like the tape on how to beat them is there. It's truly there. And they can tell me that they don't need Tyreek Hill. Yeah. But they don't have that guy that can separate the top.
Yeah, man.
They don't have that. And I think the Tennessee tape proved it even more.
No, and the Bills thing. And when they played the Bills,
all you want out, you can just that's fine.
And when they played the Bills,
but defensively,
and remember the last time the Dolphins played the Chiefs, okay, which was 2 years ago.
It was a tough matchup at home that they almost won. Yeah,
right. It was a tough game, and they turned over Patrick Mahomes 4 times. He had 3 picks and he had a fumble. Okay, how did they lose that game? Tyreek 50-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Tyreek on a reverse on 3rd and 1 that iced the game basically. They had a punt return for a touchdown. Big plays. They don't do that anymore. They don't have anything on that team.
No.
You know, that like you can line up against them and they're not going to hit you with a 70-yard touchdown all of a sudden. Yeah. Because we have that guy. We took him from them. You know what I mean?
Not to mention you add on now a more experienced Waddle in there.
Yeah. So it's so the Chiefs, look, that's why I think Patrick Mahomes, unfortunately, our boy is probably not going to be the MVP. Because Mahomes is
he's putting up sick numbers.
Yeah. He's putting ridiculous numbers.
Yes, he has had to put up sick numbers. He had to throw for 400 yards against Tennessee to win the game.
Hey, and that's what I'm saying. Like he's the most valuable player. Like you know, he's willing that team. He's dragging that team to the 1 seed because I don't see where they lose. Like where are the games that they're going to lose? You know, I think they're going to get the 1 seed. Like that's obvious.
Because their division just. Whatever.
Yeah, what a surprise! I think everybody's surprised, but like I said earlier, we didn't look at the coaching staffs. There's the coaches in that league.
I sure didn't.
Or in that division.
I thought the AFC West was potentially like right now the NFC East, where they can get all 4 teams in there, especially with an extra wild card.
And now it looks like the AFC East has a shot at that. Although right now the Jets,
the Jets, though.
Right now the Jets are out though. Right now the Bengals are the last team.
Stay out.
We already wrecked the Jets and their Disney Channel quarterback.
I don't know, man. Look at their schedule. Look at the Jets' schedule, and they might even get another. Like, look, I had penciled in. Like, you know what? That the Bears are going to be a problem for the Jets and the Bills. Okay, because they play the Bills in a few weeks. But now Justin Fields got injured, and it's just not going to happen. Like they're going to be a pushover both times.
Oh yeah,
if Justin
Bears
Fields
are nothing
play.
without Justin Fields.
You know,
nothing.
If Justin Fields plays, they have a puncher's shot at beating the Bills. The Jets, I think they beat the Jets with Justin Fields, but I don't think he's going to play this week. The Jets got too much luck, man. They're going to face every backup quarterback for the rest of the season, and their schedule is garbage.
That's kind of what happened to us last year in the second half of the season. Let's be honest. We started 1-7, and then we faced like everybody's the second and third string quarterback, everybody's bad quarterback the rest of the way. We faced one tough team, and we lost to them, Tennessee. I mean, that's just kind of how it went. And we always seem to beat the Patriots anymore, which is good.
Yep. The Patriots.
All right,
aren't
we
really
got to get some tweets up.
Yeah, I know. We got to get some tweets in. We're over an hour and a half, almost an hour and a half in there.
At least your team, guys, is not the Jets that's lost to the Patriots 14 straight times.
They're going to be pushing for that where the Dolphins beat the Bills 20 straight times in the 70s.
So this one comes from Atlas2586. Does any team in the NFL has as tough of a stretch to finish their season as the Dolphins do, meaning after the Texans game?
Yes, the Bengals. They probably have the toughest schedule left in the league.
And that was actually brutal. The comment down below was that the Cincinnati Bengals actually have a tougher schedule because, again, we just went over all this. Like,
we
again,
have
who do you
games. The Niners and the Bills. The rest are very winnable games.
And there was once upon a time that I saw the Packers as like this massive wall in Miami's way. That's not the case anymore.
No.
Aaron Rodgers does not scare me. Like, he's good. He's one of the best. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But Aaron Rodgers got nothing to work with over there.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. We may not even be facing Aaron Rodgers. We may end up facing Jordan Love. Who knows?
I mean, why would we not face Aaron Rodgers, though? Because he's going to get hurt, or he just don't want to play anymore?
Or they just may decide, let's see what we've got in Jordan Love. Let's try and showcase him so maybe we could even trade him. Maybe Aaron Rodgers gets frustrated and things start getting ugly. And Aaron Rodgers will be throwing fits behind the scenes, man. Like, he doesn't like losing, and he's not gonna ever point the finger inward, right? So you don't know what'll start to happen. He already doesn't like the GM. etc. So
like Zach Wilson,
he has a point.
No, he does have a point.
Yeah, well, that GM
no
tried
help.
to replace him with Jordan Love when he was still peak Aaron Rodgers. That's
and
why.
then Aaron Rodgers won back-to-back MVPs.
Yeah, exactly. So,
All right, next tweet, please, Mr. Manny.
There's a lot of GIFs.
that's
Yeah,
okay.
there's a lot
You
of-
say
there's
a
a lot of
GIF or GIF? I always say GIF.
It's a GIF.
I call it GIF.
It's a GIF. Like
I
that
see.
is. There's no call it. It is a GIF.
But the G in GIF stands for graphics.
No one says GIF, Ron. It's a GIF.
That's not true. No,
It
one
is
says
true. It
Let's
is
put
true.
a poll up. Somebody put a poll up.
Okay, we'll put a poll. So, Alf, that's the next 3 yards per carry poll. Put it up. Like, was it GIF?
Is it GIF or GIF?
Anyway, from Reggie, as Tua said, we just got to keep chopping the wood. Yeah, that's basically all we got. Miami Dolphins got to do. Just keep doing what they're doing. Don't
That was
do
in the
not
mic'd up.
do not let the bye week slow down the momentum that they built up. Do not let this time of rest and relaxation mess up what they've created and what they've built over the past several weeks.
I'm not even a little bit. I'm not. I know it looks like
A lot
somebody's
of
mom.
yeah, we got a lot of
Somebody's mom became a GIF.
we got a lot of reaction. We got a lot of reaction gifs in here because this is just how the Dolphins fans are feeling about everything. It's like, I mean, give me a reason not to feel that way, for real. When in today's modern NFL, I did an article way back in the way when Fin Maniacs, and there we go, some more. I feel good. Yeah, Dolphins could be the kings of the AFC East. I did an article a long time ago for FinManiacs.com, and I basically went ahead and I talked about how defenses still win championships, right? Because I went back and I saw all the top Super Bowl winning teams in the past decade or so had one of the top defenses, or at least the majority of the time, and even more so than top offenses. But with that being said, nowadays, especially now in today's NFL, even now, that article no longer is relevant because you can have a great defense, but at the end of the day, the offense is just going to beat you because everything is favored and skewed in favor of the offense. They want the offense to score points. They do not want defensive shakedowns. I'm sure that they were looking at that Jets-Patriots game and was like, oh my God, this is miserable. And a lot of people were miserable watching that game. I am sure that there were a lot of Jets fans, Patriots fans, and football fans in general who were watching that game and being like, is this really what I'm wasting my Sunday looking at right now?
Yeah, it's really not about, defense wins championships or great offense wins championships. It's great pass offense, great pass defense. Like if you have that, then you're going to have a positive passer rating differential. And if you have that, traditionally, it's the best predictor of success in the NFL historically. It's always been.
Well, currently Miami has one of those things, not so much the second.
Well, actually they do because the one of those things is Tua,
right?
And his passer rating is so high that even if you give up 105 passer rating, they're going to be a plus 13, which is like puts you like in the top 5 in the NFL. So your quarterback's playing at such a level that he's nullifying the other part of it.
That's true, but that's not something that's really sustainable. That's not something you want to count on. Like, oh yeah, Tua is just so amazing that we don't. That's exactly what we did with the Marino years. Dan Marino is so fantastically amazing that we don't have to worry about anything else. That didn't work out so good.
He went to 3 AFC championships in 5 years.
Right, but he never won the chip.
No, but he went to the Super Bowl. So I'd rather get bites at the apple than never take a bite out of the apple. Okay?
Yeah. I'm not going to complain about.
See, I'm not content with that. I'm like, no, I want the whole apple. I don't
we
want.
Haven't won a
I want the apple.
We haven't won a playoff game in 20.
You want opportunities. You want opportunities at it.
Lewis, be patient, my friend. Be patient, young grasshopper.
Don't tell me about patience, man. You
won
the Super Bowl not that long ago.
Enjoy every game. Trust me, you've never been through a Super Bowl loss. We had a great team.
No, I've just been through mediocre.
We never went back, Lewis.
All my life.
We had the greatest offense ever. We couldn't go back. That was 2004. We didn't win until 2017. Take it slow. Don't hyperventilate. Trust me. I'm telling you. Hey, Ron, and now if this is how he is right now, can you imagine Dolphins make the playoffs and go divisional conference? This man here is going to blow a gasket.
Oh, you better believe it. I already stand
this man here is going to be like, For 2
Any-
bro.
The reason I asked for the Dolphins to blow out a team is because when the game is like 5 seconds away from being on the line, I'm literally standing in front of my TV like this
Yes,
with my
and I
hands
can
on my
see
knees
you, and I
because
can
I'm
see
like,
you in the background
I
as we're
can't
waiting
sit
for
down.
the post show to begin, because this is how you are. This is how you are, and you scream and you yell and you go, yeah, no, and trust me, I've seen it all. I've seen it all, Louis.
that's
Yeah,
that's how
But
I
it's
am.
okay. Enjoy the ride, man. Trust me. Don't get so hard. Trust.
Yeah, this is going.
It's time
this is
to act
going-
like we've been here before.
It's time to act like you are there.
You've been
It's
here
time.
before. I haven't.
Well, listen, I've been through 6 NFC championship games, and we've only won 2 of them. So imagine losing 4 of those. That's heartbreaking. That is like your season went to crap, wasted. Okay, all right. Next.
Okay.
Yep.
Next tweet, please.
Oh, we don't have much. Let me see what else we have. Lots of GIFs, obviously.
Yeah, there's my and my father's chiming in. There's games where he's close to doing CPR on me because
Louis Senior, trust me, your son has one of these heart attacks before we go on the air every single time. Like it's not even funny.
Hey, look, I said this earlier. I said this earlier today on Twitter. In 3 weeks, Dolphins play the Chargers. If Justin Herbert throws an interception in the fourth quarter to lose that game, I might have a stroke and film it and put it on Twitter.
I mean, you said it's like clockwork, so you better get ready for your hospital visit.
Well, he's had 3 of them this year, Lewis, so it's a good bet, man. I don't know if you've been noticing, but I've been betting it every single time, and I keep hitting it.
On Prize Picks, yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, they took it off, and I'm not going to mention them because they're not a sponsor, but they took it off as there used to be a prop that I played 3 times and hit it twice, okay? And it was paying 4-1. It was paying plus 400. They had to pull it, and the prop was just simple. This Justin Herbert over under 0.5 interceptions in the fourth quarter. Okay, so
Just
all he
the
had to
fourth
do
quarter?
was throw. All he had to do was throw an interception in the fourth quarter, and it was 4-1. You got paid. They pulled it because people hit it too many times. Okay, that tells you all you need to know.
Well, then I
Alright.
guess I better make my Prize Picks prop before I before they pull that one too.
So ever since then, I've been betting it every single week. Justin Herbert over 1 interception.
Alrighty. Well, actually, let me just double check on my current Prize Picks here. Let's see.
Yeah, Lewis, you've been on a little bit of roll there on the Prize Picks, huh?
For the moment, yeah. Wait a minute. Why is it? Oh, because it's not time yet. Okay, I was gonna say.
Hey, Manny,
Yeah, I
are you
played
scared
one of
about
them.
those Cowboys?
He better be.
I'm scared about them Cowboys. No, because I feel like we also made additions to our defense. And I know how to attack their offense. So no.
That game's gonna be epic toward the end of the year. The winner
Well-
of that
well,
game is going to the Super Bowl, and you heard me already.
You know what, Alf? Something tells me though that by the time we get to December 24th, there's not going to be nothing much on the line. I'm not really sure we even play anybody, and I'm being honest with you. I think now we're going to see the Vikings just go straight down.
Vikings are frauds.
I think last week was the beginning of the end of all this talk about the Minnesota Vikings and the Kirk Cousins resolution, and Coach Casey is the greatest ever since Bud Grant or whatever the case is. I think the Minnesota Vikings now are about to be the Minnesota Vikings, and that is nothing. So that's going to help us regardless, because I think we got Green Bay at home. Then we got Tennessee, which they're not easy. But then we got 2 against the Giants, 1 against the Cowboys, 1 against the Saints. I don't know. Something tells me that, the 1 seed will probably get wrapped up. Now, if we go on a 2-game losing streak and the Cowboys don't, then that December 24th matchup now becomes absolute crucial, not only for the division, but for the number 1 seed. So
I think that's what it's going to come down to, that game.
yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
I mean, because listen, I realize that the Cowboys' offensive line might not be what it once was, but they're really good. They run the ball extremely well, and they beat us by double teaming Jordan Davis in the first game.
And it took them 2 years to figure out that Pollard is twice the running back that Ezekiel Elliott is.
Absolutely. Instead of putting him as damn backup because they paid all that money to Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
And Pollard's a guy now that he's a force to be reckoned with coming out of the backfield. And those are
he's a star.
And those are things that I think in today's NFL, man, I understand that the running back position isn't as valuable. But if you have a guy that can run it and catch it and go for 50 yards, bro, that just changes everything. Because now forget playing zone. Now a team has to play man to man. That's a total difference in this league.
They have their own Christian McCaffrey, but they're not smart enough to know how to use them that way.
And
that's just
when
a fact.
Kellen Moore should start realizing that and be like,
yeah,
hey,
they need to start looking at what the Niners are doing with CMC and doing that with Pollard.
Correct. And then you even saw with last night when CMC got his stuff and it went off. Here comes Elijah Mitchell. We all seem to forget about Elijah Mitchell. Even he had a good game. So it's just one of those things. You have to have a two-back system.
Although the Cowboys, they started the second half against the Vikings and they ran Pollard on a wheel route, and it was a 76-yard touchdown.
That was such a nice pass too from Dak. That was a really nice pass from Dak.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Cowboys. Look, their defense is really good.
You might add an OBJ, even if he's not even 100%, maybe 80%. That right there makes you as a defensive coordinator. Okay, now I got to roll my safety.
Yeah, the thing about Dallas. Yeah. The thing about Dallas is this: they can run the ball. They have a really good defense, but their Achilles heel is Dak Prescott. If he's hot, they're almost impossible to beat. Like they're one of the best teams in football. Right. But every once in a while, Dak Prescott rolls out of bed and decides, you know what, I'm not going to be that good today. You know,
true.
And if you catch them, on one of those days, then yeah, anybody could beat them. You know, but like when he's on. When he's on, you don't beat that team. That team is loaded when he's on.
I just feel like the moment Jalen Hurts wins a playoff game, I need to put him and Dak at least Neville now. I can't just say Dak this. I just can't. Because I know the one performance that he had last year, people still rank on because we got shellacked in the first half by the Bucks, and it is what it is. But the moment Jalen Hurts wins the playoff game and Dak hasn't won his second, I think it's now time you gotta elevate it a little bit, and you gotta give credit to quarterbacks. The minute Tua wins a playoff game, enough with this. The man has to be elevated. You can't just say, "Oh no, he didn't do it." No, you gotta just give credit where credit is due. It's simple as that. And still, when you turn on the television with the media, it's always about Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo, blah blah blah. And then when it's the negative talk, let's see how Tua did today. Look at Hurts, only 100 passing yards, but he had over 100 rushing yards. That's not a quarterback. This whole narrative has to end at some point, but it's not going to because they like what they like, and it is what it is.
So we're an hour and a half in. Let's actually talk about the Houston Texans here because we gotta.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we have to talk a little bit. We're not going to talk about the game otherwise, unless
They might change quarterbacks on us.
No, I thought we already established.
They did already, Al.
Kyle Allen.
The announcement
was made that it's going to be Kyle Allen, not Davis Mills. So, didn't Kyle Allen play the Dolphins and win somehow way back when? I feel like I remember that. I don't know, but I feel like I remember that happening.
No, I don't think he won anything. Win.
Kyle Allen win-loss record. Let's see. What
you do is you look through his game logs, career game logs.
No, I don't see him playing against the Dolphins.
I think he might have lost to the Dolphins, but like I'm looking through here, all his starts. There's no game right there against Miami.
I don't know. I don't know why I felt like I remembered him playing the Dolphins.
No, there's no game against.
Maybe I just have backup. Maybe I just have backup QB PTSD after the Thad.
Who did he play before? Who did he play with before Houston, or has he always been with Houston? I can't even remember. Is it Washington or Minnesota?
He's been with Houston for a while. Then he was with Washington.
Washington, that's what I thought. Okay.
Duke says that was the Flores fighting the bench game. Oh, was he the backup for the Bengals? Oh, that's right. That's when he played them.
No, that guy was Brandon Allen. Not all.
Brandon Allen.
Not all Allens are the same. So you have Josh Allen.
You got Josh Allen, Brandon Allen,
Allen, Josh Allen, Kyle Allen. There's too many Allens.
Yeah. So this is a different guy.
Okay, now that I remember it, yes. Okay, it was Brandon Allen. Yes, that makes that. I remember that now. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Kyle Allen never did play the Dolphins. Okay, whatever.
He's gonna throw his first passes on Sunday.
So just to be safe, prizepicks.com definitely pick the over on interceptions for Kyle Allen.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't pick the over on any quarterback for interceptions against the Dolphins except for Herbert, because it doesn't matter who he's playing, he's going to throw interceptions. But the Dolphins are not getting takeaways. That's one of the things that's hurting this team a little bit. It's actually one of the things that, believe it or not, is probably keeping the offense from maybe scoring a little bit more. Even is the fact that the defense is not giving them short fields. They're just not.
You know what this is. You know what this is with Kyle Allen. I think this is a shot at seeing if maybe they have like a resurrection, like a Case Keenum resurrection. You know what I mean? Because if you look at his career, like this is a guy that deserved many more shots. Like this guy should have been a hot backup quarterback prospect. Okay.
You know what? I just realized he's only 26. Who am I thinking of that I thought he was like a 39-year-old journeyman?
Look, he's played in 21 games. Okay, 21 games. All right. But out of those 21 games, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4. He has had 5 games where he came in relief, didn't play the entire game. So that means that he has 16 games. Okay. He has 16 games where he actually started. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has 6 games plus 100 quarterback rating. And he has a 144, a 112, 2 111s, and a 104. And then he has a bunch above league average, okay? Because he has 98, 97, 89. Like this, like what they're doing this year is like taking a shot to see maybe they got their bridge quarterback for next year. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is that Kyle Allen should not be viewed as a pushover.
No, like he's a competent backup quarterback. Like you look at these numbers, how the hell what are they paying him? Like what are they paying him? And who's his agent? Because he needs a better agent if he's getting paid nothing.
He's getting paid $2.5 million with $225 guaranteed.
Okay, now he should get. What does Case Keenum get for Buffalo?
Yeah, that's a different. Well, that's fine. Well, Case Keenum already. He's a name now. So hang on, let me see. Let me pull that up real quick. Case Keenum contract, $8 million guaranteed at signing.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, Kyle Allen needs a better agent. If he wants me to represent him, I could do that.
Yeah, you can get him more than $2.5 million.
So now,
this is a decent backup quarterback.
To be fair, Case Keenum got his contract restructured, so now he's down to $3.5 million this year. So,
but who are they throwing it to? I mean, who do they really have on that?
Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, OJ Howard is there now.
Philip Dorsett is there.
Brevin Jordan.
Yeah.
This
should be. I'd like to see our defense gain some confidence.
I remember when we were high on Philip Dorsett. I really do.
I think this game's going to be just a show off game for Tua, Hill, and Waddle. This is going to be like a 4 or 5 touchdown game from Tua, 2 touchdowns to Hill, 2 touchdowns to Waddle, 150 yards each, 400 yards for Tua type game. I just think
they have Derek Stingley as a rookie on the boundary. He was a highly touted rookie. They have Desmond King in the slot, who's a pretty nice player. Jerry Hughes coming off the edge. So they have some good players sprinkled in here or there.
Cleveland Browns had a lot more good players sprinkled in, and it doesn't always necessarily matter. Doesn't always say. I mean, let's be honest with you. Dolphins defense hasn't always played great, and we've got a lot of good players sprinkled in. You know what I mean? We really do.
Well, we're at home. We should win. We should win by 3 touchdowns.
Nabil Hewitt is there. Huh. Welcome back. Familiar face.
I think this is like a 35-10 type game for
something
Miami.
Like that.
Yeah, something like that. And I think most of that's going to be right in the first half. By the middle of the third quarter, this game's probably going to be well out of reach. In the fourth quarter, you're going to see Teddy if he's not hurt, and if not, you'll see Skylar Thompson.
You know who their best player is that we haven't even mentioned his name yet.
And who is that?
I'll give you a hint. He plays on the offensive line.
Oh, Tunsil.
Well, aren't they going to put him in the Ring of Honor at halftime? So
I would love if the Dolphins did
they're going to
that.
put Tunsil at nice.
Like, we need to have a standing ovation whenever we see Laramie Tunsil come out. It's like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a
That's
movement already on Twitter to, if they introduce the offense.
I'm sure that Big E will be all over that. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
If they introduce the offense for the Texans, there has to be a giant cheer.
Cheer for Laramie
Laramie
Tunsil. Thank
Tunsil.
you. Isn't he the guy that said I'd have traded me for that too?
Yeah.
See, what we had him to do now is, like, after the Texans do their little fire sale, whatever, we bring him back, bring it full circle, and Chris Greer can retire as the greatest GM who will ever be in the Miami Dolphins executive room.
Yeah, or like a 6th round pick for Tunsil.
Well, the problem is that Laramie Tunsil is in his prime, and he makes $20 million a year.
He's really
I'll put him on the
expensive.
right tackle spot, right next to, like, here. Let's see who flips better, Armstead or Tim Tunsil. Let's do that.
Let's put him in at left. Let's put him in at left guard.
Let's put him in a guard. There you go. Well, we got to be fair to Robert Jones.
And then
Jones.
you know what? Let's put him in at left guard, and it's Webb and Sims.
Look, guys, I got
again.
a really good topic. Do you remember last year how we were bitching about how trash this offensive line was? Remember?
Yeah,
Yes, because it was.
it was.
You know that they're likely to have 3 Pro Bowlers on this offensive line, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they're likely to have 3 Pro Bowl candidates. Whether or not they
Yeah.
get voted or not is up to all the
Armstead,
the
Williams, and
popularity
Hunt.
contest.
If they're not
Armstead,
voted in,
Williams,
it's
and
because the voters are stupid. Because those 3 guys deserve to be Pro Bowlers.
Why are the rankings are so subjective, especially on the offensive line? Why do they still show the Dolphins' offensive line rank? Like, I saw something from might have even been Warren Sharp or something that had the Dolphins' offensive line ranked 28th of 32. And the point, or it was somebody else, they were making.
I think
point,
some of those numbers
hey,
are getting skewed because I saw somebody else who had like a composite of all the rankings.
Yeah.
And there was one guy, there's one guy who breaks down film, and all of that is subjective, by the way. Okay. All of that is subjective.
Especially on offensive line.
Yeah, all of that is subjective unless you're counting pressures and sacks. Because if you're counting pressures and sacks, Miami has one of the best offensive lines, right? But there was a guy who put up another ranking, and that tells you all you needed to know is because he had the composite rankings, and he had one that had him ranked as the 13th best offensive line. And then there was 2 other ones that had him 22nd, and one of them had him like 30th or something like that. So that tells you all you need to know. It's all subjective. So
yeah, that's what I saw, and I thought I retweeted it, but I must not have because I don't see it on here. Maybe it's that. I don't know. I'm trying to remember who it was. I don't know. I keep seeing like people say, "Oh, our line didn't do good," and then I heard people say Brandon Shell had a bad game. I'm like, I mean, did he? I mean, Tua's off. Tua, the only time he hit the ground was on the high snap when he had to fall on the ball. Besides that, he never even touched the ground. I just don't understand. I guess I don't watch all 22 film, so maybe people go back and watch the film and see. Shell allowed more pressure than you realize, and Tua handles pressure very, very well. I mean, he's really good at handling pressure, clearly. So he probably masks it more. Plus, he has a really quick release. That also masks it more. But I just feel like the Dolphins' O-line is playing so much better than they're getting credit for. I mean, it doesn't matter if they get credit or not. It only matters if they play well. I just don't understand this perception or these rankings that have Miami's offensive line ranked so poorly all the time. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means. I remember clearly before the season talking about the gauntlet of pass rushers that we were going to face. Remember?
Yeah.
What happened to that gauntlet?
It's running out. He kept running through it over and over and over.
We're running out of pass rushers.
Alf, man, you got to stop letting Simon and CK take you off your points, brother. Like I've listened to it like 3 weeks in a row now on 3 yards per carry. You'll bring up a great point. I know you believe in what you're saying. CK and Simon pretty much say no, and you just move on to the next point. Stop it. Tell these guys what's up, man. Fight with them a little. I insist. Make your point, man. Don't let them take you down. I know you just move on to the next point. You're the moderator. You're the host. I get it. I understand, but
if you're on OnlyFans, we're going back. Me and CK are kind of like teaming up on Simon right now. So.
Oh, is it about soccer, England versus
about
USA?
The Tua thing. About the Tua thing.
The receipts?
This is in regard. Yeah, the receipts. Simon doesn't like that stuff. He's like, get over it.
You know what though? I'll say this, and maybe a public service announcement. I mean, receipts have been fun. Even 2 weeks ago, right? We were on here. We brought up that Dolphins receipt. Great account. You guys have done good work. We're doing great work. No doubt that all the takes about Tua were so hyperbolic coming in. So the reaction is equally hyperbolic. I get all that, but I don't know, man. Maybe it's time to just enjoy the ride now. I kind of.
Are you getting bored, Ron?
I'm just kind of just over the receipts. I think some of it's gone too far. I think some of the stuff against Mina had went a little too far. Now I see people clearly.
Do you forgive Joy Taylor?
I see people never. I see people.
You're not done yet.
No, because she won't admit she was ever wrong. She just all of a sudden flipped a switch one day and pretended like the all the stuff she said on Colin Cowherd never happened. That's why I don't forgive her. When she comes out and wants to say I'm actually yes, I was wrong. I'm glad she is a champion for Tua now. But come on, I see people actually photoshopping stuff now and making it look like they made it look like Mina said some stuff that she didn't even actually say.
Yeah.
I just don't want to look petty, man. I just don't want to look petty. Like I said before, let's kind of act like we've been here before, even though as most Dolphins fans, we haven't, especially on Twitter.
Look, if you want to attack people that actually hated on him, they're so obvious. Like the targets are so obvious. Like Mike Florio,
Florio, Sims,
Chris Sims, Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
It's the usual suspects. Okay, it's the usual suspects. All right, you can attack them from now until the cows come home. Okay, and they're doing it for profit, especially Mike Florio and Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, they are. They are doing it for clicks. They're doing it to pay their. They're doing it to make extra money. I saw the one tweet was really a great example. They showed Colin Cowherd's YouTube videos for his podcast. And they showed 4 different subjects. It was like he talked about this 8,000. He talked about this 9,000. He talked about this 10,000. He talked about Tua sucking 102,000. And so it just proves right there that they're doing it for money, no doubt. But man, I don't know, man. I just think it might be time to kind of chill out on the receipts. But honestly, where I'm the biggest proponent of receipts. We got plenty of people out in Dolphins community that called themselves Dolphins fans. Have at them people, man. Have at the TD Fens moron and the Clump moron. And somehow the reason is now Perform says, oh, this is the only guy supporting the Dolphins. He's like the biggest Tua trasher ever a freaking year and a half ago. I was like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Like go after these Dolphins idiots that are out there, the scoop moron on Twitter. Those guys, those are the ones they should be going after.
I disagree. Those people don't bring the receipts to although if you want to mock them in the receipts with tweets, yeah, do that. But don't make them bigger than what they are. Okay. Don't put them in the class of the Tua haters because that's what they want. Like those people.
True.
Like I think it's like a weird sexual fetish with those people. Okay.
Nice.
Because there's no way you can believe half of the garbage that some of those people say.
No, they're just saying.
All you gotta do is follow that Dolphin receipt account, and they put up the receipt from those idiots, and you got to read some of the garbage that they wrote a year ago.
So it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I tried to talk to the guy, the guy from Wales. Speaking of Wales, the guy from Wales that had the long list that got on TV.
Yeah.
So I was talking to that guy today. He's been banned from Twitter way back. So somebody else had to post that. The guy said, my buddy, because that guy got banned from Twitter because he said something to Albright about him being something or other. But anyway, because he said Tua couldn't throw it 30 yards. But I tried to talk to that guy a little bit about it today. It's like, man, don't you think it's time? Maybe we kind of chill, dude. These people are not relenting. They're not like I'm sitting here saying maybe it's time we kind of chill and let's just show a little bit of class. Man, yeah, no one's listening to me. I promise you. I know now no one's listening.
Look, you don't stop the war just over a couple of friendly fire incidents. Okay, all right. In the Iraq War, the first Iraq War, there was a few friendly fire incidents. Did they stop bombing Baghdad? No. So so.
Okay. Extreme example, but okay.
All right. So there's gonna be some friendly fire. There's gonna be casualties along the way.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yeah, but I'm telling you, man.
But this is a battle worth fighting.
The first bad game we have, or if we go in the playoffs, especially if we go in the playoffs and suck it up in the first game.
Yeah, but we got 15 years of this. God. So Tua has to fail for 15 years. You understand that once he wins one MVP trophy or one Super Bowl trophy, all these people get banished forever.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And think about it. And you still have his Hall of Fame career. Like at the end of 15 years, if Tua doesn't have an MVP or Super Bowl, but he's going to the Hall of Fame, you could still rag on all those people. You know what I mean? But let's face it. Let's face it. Tua's going to win an MVP, and he's going to win at least 2 Super Bowls here.
I feel like they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I said that before, but I'm in the minority.
Look, I hate to start making like predictions. I think that they need the 1 seed or home field in the first round to win the Super Bowl.
I just think they could win out and not get the 1 seed. Though.
So they gotta win the division. If they don't win the division, they're gonna win 1 playoff game and then they're done in the second round. I hate to be that guy, but I think that's what's gonna happen. Even though I predicted like they were going to lose in Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, and I still believe that. But to do that, you probably need to win. I just don't
want to have to face. I'm telling you, the team I don't want to have to face in the playoffs is the Ravens, man. Because we just don't have any answer for these with these running quarterbacks.
Our quarterback hung 42 on them. I don't fear them.
I got you. Well, I don't want them to have to hang 42 again in order to win the game.
Even Tennessee. Nobody's noticed that we've kind of built something here on the defensive side of the ball where we kind of stopped the run pretty good.
Oh yeah. Tennessee's a bad matchup for us. They're a bad matchup. We are a bad matchup for them. I should.
If we can stop Nick Chubb, we can slow down Derrick Henry.
I agree. Yeah, I'm not worried about the Titans.
You know, like a tough matchup. Man, there's a bunch of tough matchups. By the way, like there's possibility that we'll go to Buffalo in the first round. Like that's a possibility. But like. Going to Baltimore, I don't care. Going to Cincinnati, if Cincinnati somehow can go through that gauntlet and win the division, like I don't fear that. You know,
I don't think Cincinnati even. I just don't think.
But I think that to do something like something real, yeah, I think they need to win the division, and I don't know.
Win the division. Tough. I think first seed's really going to be tough, but division very possible.
Yeah, I think the 1 seed is gone, just like the MVP, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think
any other year, like look, last year was going to be tough because last year Aaron Rodgers had the season that Tua's having now, right? But Aaron Rodgers won 13 games last year, so and they were the 1 seed out in the NFC. Yep. So and they lost maybe last year wasn't good enough either, for Tua to win the MVP. So he's going to need Mahomes to come back down to life.
Believe it or not, what's hurting Tua the most is the 2.5 games missing. So you got to figure probably on average, based off what he's been doing, he's missing out on like 750 yards and probably 7-8 touchdowns. If he has those 750 yards and 7-8 touchdowns, this is a little bit closer race.
There's 7-3 total, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So he averages roughly 300 yards a game. So you're talking about 3,000. So you're talking about 7 games left, 2,100. Tua was on pace for 5,000 yards passing. 5,000. So,
which isn't as a crazy number as it used to be, but it's still a crazy number. It's a really crazy number because if anybody told you that Tua was going to throw for 5,000 yards, you wouldn't believe him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see though. Anyway, my public service announcement is, even though Alpha, I understand you don't agree, you say the war must continue. Is I think it's maybe time to back off a little. And
I think we need to institute the draft.
Show
full mobilization of Dolphin Twitter. All right. Okay.
Apparently, I'll probably go last in the draft.
And we got to keep the nukes. We got to keep the nukes in reserve. We can't be afraid to use them.
Oh God,
who are the nukes?
Nukes.
Dolphins receipt. Dolphins receipt. That guy's he is the atomic bomb. Right?
QAnon and Dolphins receipts.
No, the nukes are like our media people. You know what I mean? Like we mobilize our media people, the Sedanos, the Dan Levitards, the Joy Taylors.
Emmanuel Acho.
Although Joy Taylor's like what do you call it? The double agent, We turned her.
She's a double agent, or she's more like a refurbished, like a laptop that's been refurbished and then resold as new.
Yeah. Joy was with the enemy. We brought her into, we arrested her and we turned her into like one of our top agents.
Yeah. Brainwashed her.
It's the Stockholm syndrome in motion here, I guess.
So yeah, get ready to storm the beaches. You know,
And
especially
Normandy.
if Tua wins the Super Bowl this year or wins the MVP, then
You know what?
it's an
See,
all-out
that's what
assault.
I'd like to see. Like if he wins the Super Bowl, then
If he
never
wins the
shut
Super
up.
Bowl or the
Then
MVP
never shut
this
up.
year, the revenge year. If he does it, the revenge year, because he's gonna have a great season. He's having a great season right now, right? So there's nothing else. Like okay, like be able to point and say, hey, you guys were wrong, right? But if he has hardware, if he has actual hardware, yeah, we're storming the beaches. It's our D-Day. Like it's an all-out assault.
That's fair. That is fair.
You know what I mean?
And this is an excellent point here, but shouldn't the missed games help Tua, because as soon as he walked back in the door, the Dolphins started winning again, as opposed to
there's one way, okay, because remember how they're doing the MVP voting this year. They're doing it the way I always thought,
like a top 5 voting,
like a forced rank, like choice rank voting or
exactly. So you're gonna get points you're gonna get points that, like, if Tua gets enough second place votes, it might be good. It might move him up past the guy who gets a bunch of third place votes, right? There's one way Tua can just continue on his path and win the MVP if he wins out, because then he could say, I'm undefeated. You know what I mean?
He could say that.
If he could say, hey, I'm undefeated, like, look, there's 7 games left. He has 7 wins.
Yeah, he's 7-0 in games he starts and finishes.
Yeah, if the stat at the end of the year is he's 14-0, and the Dolphins are 14-0 in games that he starts and finishes, and he has those numbers,
he'll get
he's
some
the
votes.
MVP.
Yeah, he'll get some votes, especially if he continues on the track he is with the way he's playing, the efficiency that he's playing the game with. Because even efficiency numbers, Mahomes' efficiency numbers are really high. They really are. Yeah. But when you look at all the efficiency, I mean, like here's the graph, right? And to do it backwards for the camera. So like Mahomes is like way over here on the graph, and then Tua is like up here. It's just insane.
Yeah,
the efficiency that he's playing with right now and playing the quarterback position.
Yeah. But Tua has every opportunity. He's gonna have some signature games coming up. You know,
he still has. And we keep on talking about, and I like the comment that you guys have talked about on 3 yards per carry. CK keeps mentioning, man, we thought for so many years we had the Arizona game, and then we had the Baltimore game. But now we have so many games where we watch him play so good. We're like, well, this might have been a better game than the Baltimore. Like already, he's just starting to stockpile really, really, really good games one after the other. And I think this Houston game is going to be another one that's you just add that to the pile.
Speaking of the Houston game, let's wrap this up because it's almost we're bordering on 2 hours again. Which
we talked. We didn't even have a game this last week, and we're going.
That was the return of our guy Chad. Yeah, we had to enjoy that. All right, so let's do Ron's favorite game. The one that he loves to play every single week.
We're relabeling all these next year, by the way. We're gonna let it go this year because we're too far into it. We're renaming these next year. But go ahead, Lewis.
Okay. You know the rules. Go ahead. Go first.
My MVP is gonna be Tua because I think he's gonna throw 4 or 5 touchdowns. And 400 yards.
Okay, so that's a hint, everybody. Pick the over on Prize Picks.
Yeah. Take whatever Tua has on Prize Picks.
Was his prop even on there last week? On the last 2 weeks.
It's on there right now. He's at 260.
Oh my god!
Is that for yards or touchdowns? Because he said 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's at 260 touchdowns.
Yeah, 260 touchdowns. Probably take the under on that. So Tua's my MVP for sure. My overrated player. Why you always make me pick a guy? I don't know, man. Like, can you make me pick a guy that won't do as well as you think he would do?
Look, just pick the easy one, Mike Gesicki.
Yeah, I know, right? That's the first one that always comes to mind. But when Tua's, we'll say Gesicki. I say he doesn't really get in on this one as much, and I'll say the guy that really, I think Chubb's going to have a monster game on the defensive side of the ball. I think this is where Chubb really comes out, and
remember he's facing
Bradley Chubb. Yeah, this is where he's going to come out and really beat Chubb. That's what I think.
Okay.
But I think you're going to see Jalen Phillips more facing Tunzel than Chubb is, though. Because usually, I mean, I know they switch him around. Usually,
I think you're gonna see. I'm gonna see
Phillips going up against the left tackle more often.
I think you're gonna see them both going up against Tunsil together at the same time, because I think Jalen Phillips is gonna be the 3 tech and Chubb is gonna be out wide. So, they're gonna try to have Phillips rushing against guards, and that's why I think Jalen Phillips is gonna have a 3-sack game and he'll be the MVP.
Awesome segue. I love it.
Overrated. I'm gonna say Tua, because they're gonna be up enough where Tua's not gonna throw it that much in the fourth quarter. He's gonna have 3 touchdowns again. I think he likes this little 280 and 3 touchdowns number, and I think the important thing is the 135 quarterback rating. I think he's gonna go get that again, but I don't think he's gonna throw for a lot of yards because this thing's gonna be over late in the third quarter. So I don't think he'll throw. I'll put the over-under on passes in the fourth quarter for Tua at 3. Okay? So maybe he throws 3 passes in the fourth quarter, so I'll put him as the overrated. And then what was the last one?
Underrated. The guy who's gonna do more than we think.
Okay. More than we think. I think Jeff Wilson, we thought that was good against Cleveland. I think he has another 100-yard game against Houston this week.
Okay, so that's the over on Price Picks for him as well. And I was so looking forward to like Raheem Mostert.
And I think they're going to want to do the same thing they did against Cleveland. I think they're going to want nearly 300 yards passing and 200 yards rushing again. So look for that.
All right. So I'll finish it up here. My MVP. Honestly, I'm thinking that the MVP is going to be Tua. Seriously, I know that I kind of go with Ron on this one. I just feel like with the way that Tua is going to be able to throw, if he really is going to be able to put up that many points against the Texans, if he manages to get 3 touchdowns by the end of the third quarter, I feel like that's an MVP worthy game. I really, really do. Like, regardless of how many yards he rushes for, like that's an MVP level kind of game. And if he ends up doing it faster than that, they're not going to pull him out before the half is over. So we'll see what happens. He could really, really push up his numbers.
This will be our best first quarter. Watch. This is going to be the first game where we really start to run it up early, in my opinion.
I'm going to say my underrated guy is, you know what, just to go against the grain and just to see how many people I can piss off.
Tyreek Hill?
No. Mike
Jeff
Gesicki.
Wilson? Who?
Mike Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki?
I'm the only one who hasn't made, I think I'm the only one who hasn't made that prediction yet. So who knows? Maybe this time.
I think Mike McDaniel for shits and giggles should have Jason Sanders try a 60-yarder in this game.
You know, I was thinking about that. I wonder if this is the game where he tries to get Jason Sanders' mental game right, where other games he'd go ahead and maybe go for it on 4th down or perhaps punt inside the 50 when maybe that's not normally, but goes ahead and lets Jason Sanders kick a few that possibly in a different game, in a different scenario, he doesn't let him kick. I was thinking about that before, just to try and see, because I think Jason Sanders has this game to show. He's had the bye week and this game to get his mind right, or they're going to go, if he goes missing extra points and 39-yard field goals again, they're going to go get another kicker. They're not going into the West Coast trip with Jason Sanders doing that. They're not going to do it because I don't
think they can. That
Niners game will probably come down to a field goal, so one way or the other.
They can't.
I don't think they can cut him.
No, they won't. They will get another kicker and make his butt inactive. That's what they will do. They are not going to risk their season on this guy missing extra points and 39-yard field goals. They'll just have to make him inactive. And especially if you're bringing Byron Jones back. Now, you've had Byron Jones sitting inactive for 5, 6, 7 weeks now. If they're bringing Byron Jones back and he's going to be active, they'll just make Jason Sanders inactive and have 2 kickers. That'll just be what he is. There's no way. Mike McDaniels is not stubborn. He is not stubborn, and he is not stupid. He knows that you need your kicker making extra points and 39-yard field goals to beat the Niners on the road, to beat the Bills on the road, to win in the playoffs. He is not an idiot. And you can't be going for it on 4th and 8 at the 48-yard line every damn time against some of these teams. It's just not smart football.
We could drag Andrew Franks out of retirement.
So that's my opinion, that he has this game to get his head right. So I think you're right, Alf. I think he's going to let him maybe kick a few more field goals that under normal circumstances, he'd go ahead and go for it because he wants to see if Sanders can dig himself out of this.
Mm-hmm. It's been a long road. It's been a bad, awful season for him.
It really has.
I'm going to just quickly say that I think my overrated player is going to actually be Christian Wilkins. I don't think he makes as much of an impact, but that's just a random guy I'm pulling out of my hat. Let's go ahead and do the scores, and then we'll call it here. Alf, you go first. What's the score going to be, and how's this all going to go down?
I think the Dolphins will be bored to death by the third quarter. They'll forget to play the fourth quarter, and they'll win 27-10.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. All right. Ron?
38-10.
38-10. All right. I'm inclined to think that they're gonna. I'll give the Texans 17 just because I don't trust the defense to be on point the entire game. But
that's
I think
more points than what they give up at home. They only give up 15.2 per game at home.
I'm giving them some cushion. But I'll say that the Dolphins still put up 34 points. And by the way, to Kiana's point, bring back Caleb Sturgis. I mean, he's not doing anything either. Who knows? Maybe. I mean, he could probably make a 40-yarder.
Bring back Fuad Reves.
Or
have Morstead kick.
Bring back Olindo Mare.
Yeah.
Oh, true. God. Olindo Mare.
Or just never kick. Just go
never
for
kick.
it. And do 2-point conversions every time we score.
Who was the oldest kicker to ever play? Olindo Mare is 49 years old.
Nah, there's been other guys. Morton Anderson, I think, reached 50.
Yeah.
You know, Morton Anderson kicked in an NFC Championship game, and I know this for a fact because Morton Anderson had completed the only perfect season at that point as a kicker. He was, I think, 30 for 30 that year. He had not missed a kick all year, and then, of course, he missed the game winner in the NFC Championship game.
Morton Anderson is 62 years old now.
Bring him back.
Bring him back.
Okay, his last year was 2007. He was 47.
Okay, there you go.
But no, I mean, if we're gonna look back on old Dolphins kickers, we could bring back Caleb Sturgis, Andrew Franks,
Uvu and Shaman.
Where's Dan Carpenter? Where's Dan Carpenter at? That's where.
I think he's still in the league.
He is also a former kicker. He's 36. He could do it. He probably could if we really begged him to. It's like, dude, let's bring him back.
I don't think you'd have to beg him.
My father, Gary.
Yupremian. I was thinking that.
Well, he's dead. So, like, if you
brought probably still back, kick better than Jason Sanders.
If you brought back Gary Yupremian, I think the Dolphins will have a pretty big advantage against anybody. Okay.
I mean,
because people will be looking like, holy shit, their kicker is an animated corpse.
We're over an Indian burial ground. He may get reanimated.
Pet cemetery.
Oh God. Okay. That's going to be it for this show. It's been an awesome ton of fun. Really glad to have everybody here. Alf, thank you for coming. Ron, as always. Manny, for always being here. And as always, everybody, make sure you're going over to our favorite sponsor ever, prizepicks.com. They are the place where you can go to get your props in. You can go ahead and get the over on Justin Jefferson this upcoming Thanksgiving Day. Over 1 yard receiving. He's basically a freebie for you. And I know that Taco Tuesday is still going on as well with Kevin Durant. I need to keep an eye on that. I'm hoping to get $100 out of my power play there. Go over there, use the promo code 5. That's FIVE. They will match up to $100 on your deposit when you initially sign up. There's no rollover. You don't have to bet it through. You just put in your $100 when you sign up, and they're going to give you $100 to play with right after that. It's basically a free $100 they're giving you to start up. And if you know your sports, and I know that many of you out there do, you can get some big time money. And if not, you can just get lucky like me and win 500 on the NBA of all things.
And I'll give you guys a tip. Okay. You can't play it anymore, but I did the same thing. I took Anthony Davis because they changed the Taco Tuesday, and now it's Anthony Davis over 22 points, right? I took Anthony Davis over because he's averaging like 1 million points a game the last 5 games. But I purposefully went out and started looking for injured players to bet the under on their block shots. Okay. And I took 2 guys coming off injury. Tobias Harris, he doesn't have a block shot, and it's now late in the third quarter, and he's not even playing right now. And I took Aaron Gordon, who's returning and is going to be on a minutes restriction. So take Aaron Gordon under half a block.
That's what I did too. Yep.
You did too?
Him and
Okay.
Kyrie Irving.
Well, Kyrie kind of scares me because he has one block 4 games in a row. So maybe that's something that he's doing now. You want me to check that one for you?
What, for Kyrie? I could have sworn I saw he didn't block anything. That's what I thought I saw.
Let me check. Kyrie.
I didn't even know he was back.
He's back. He finally gave. He
Shows you how
finally
much I've been paying
apologized.
attention. Wow.
He finally apologized.
Kyrie
They brought
Irving
him
has
back.
played 22 minutes so far. He has 0 blocks right now.
I just feel like Kyrie's not a blocking kind of guy. He's not. That's not his game. Like
Okay.
anybody can get lucky.
And if you go by his average minutes, you basically got to fade about 14 minutes worth. Okay, so he has to go the next 14 minutes that he plays without a block, and you're gonna be golden. And I really like that Aaron Gordon one.
I think I need to start aiming lower than usual because it's like I always go for like the massive one, all 6. Let's go all 6. I'm like, well, maybe I need to go incremental. Just get a few hundred at a time. Let's do that instead.
Just gonna play Prize Picks for a living now, Lewis.
I mean, listen, man. Some people make a living off this stuff. They really, really do.
Alf, did you see?
I'm not that good at it, but
Alf, did you see my picks this past week in OnlyFans in the other sports channel?
No, I didn't see that.
Against the spread in the NFL, I was 8-2-2.
Jesus.
The
Then you should
only
start
ones I
publicizing
lost
that.
Houston because they got killed, and the Steelers. Those are my 2 losses. My pushes
Wow.
were Cleveland, and I can't remember who the other push was. And I won all the rest.
are you using Better Edge?
I didn't use anything. I just picked to see how I do. But I had to put it in there ahead of time, so I couldn't say, "Hey guys, I picked well." Hey, where'd you post it? Oh, nowhere. I had to post it ahead of time. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Well, at least now I know I can take your advice.
Oh yeah. Until I put money on it, then I'll probably be 1-10-2 or some crap.
Then you'll mush it like.
Then I'll just bomb. We'll see how I do again this year.
What's
this
the
week.
over under on Dorsey destroying another press box? Only if he loses to Miami.
Yeah,
If he
all I
loses
do
to
is
if he
win.
loses to Miami and Buffalo, I guarantee you that whole stadium is going to burn to the ground.
I remember
Especially
what I
if
said.
Allen
Remember what
dunks
I
it into
said
the
when I
ground.
first came on here today. Go Lions! It's important. That is
Oh,
an
yeah.
important game.
Big time.
Well, rooting for the Lions isn't hard. I love Dan Campbell.
I forget what that spread is. I thought it was like 7 or 8, something like that. I think it's like 7.
Man, I would take Detroit. They
Oh
won
yeah.
3 in
Oh
a
yeah.
row.
No, that I promise you the Sharps are taking Detroit on a touchdown dog at home. The Sharps are going to take touchdown dogs at home almost every team every time. The Sharps are going to take touchdown dogs at home.
But
Every
and that
time.
goes to show you another thing. All right, remember when everybody was saying, "Oh, the Dolphins beat the Lions. Who cares? It's the Lions." Well, they're 3-0 since then, and they've killed 3 teams.
Yes.
So that tells you all you need to know. And guess what? Their offense is back in the top 5 again.
Yep.
Okay, so
hey, Alf,
they're legit offense.
How long until the Nets game right now is over?
They're headed to the 4th quarter.
Okay, because I need Kevin
But
Durant.
remember,
to
Kyrie
score
Irving
more
always
points.
sits. He always sits like the first 4 minutes of the 4th quarter.
I'm
So
not worried
he'll-
about Kyrie. I'm worried about Durant. I need him to score 6 more points. So I just wanted to make sure we're still on
No,
track.
he'll get that. Like that's
Yeah,
not
I just want to make sure he's still on track because I thought Brook Lopez just needed 1 more point last night and I would have been golden. But it's like, nah,
Nah,
he's
Kevin
gonna
Durant.
take a break.
So what you want to know about Kevin Durant's numbers?
Yeah, he's currently at 18 points. I should be okay. That's why I want.
Well, he's actually not scoring that much if he only has 18 points. But what was the Taco Tuesday? What was it at?
23.5.
23.
So help me
Yeah,
since
he'll
I
get
don't
that.
know what is Taco Tuesday. What's that about? Is that
They give you a boost. Like if his over under is usually like 27,
Which is what it was.
Yeah, they'll take 5 points off. So now the over under is 22. So they're helping you out.
Oh my God! It's Detroit's getting 10 points at home in this game. Oh God, you got to take Detroit.
Yeah.
Go
That's
to Better's
ridiculous.
Edge.
That's
they're
ridiculous.
they're not a sponsor of this show, but maybe they should be. But
That's
go to Better's
ridiculous.
Edge. Go get your props in. All right, that's it, folks. Awesome show. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next week when we do this all over again. Everybody, you have a great night.